and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
We got beat. We got thumped in every aspect of the game.
You got your ass kicked. That is Dak Prescott after a butt kicking yesterday by the Denver Broncos. Welcome into the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm in a bad mood. I'm Jason Minix. You know, it's been a long time since the Dallas Cowboys have ruined a Sunday. And even longer than that ruined Sunday carries over into a Monday. And you couple that with the time change. And I've just been surly all day. In fact, a little while ago, I was going to check the mail. And I saw my neighbor. And she's like, man, how was the Cowboys game yesterday? I said, well, it sucked. She's like, yeah, I know. Her husband, Hal, was in a bad mood all day. She's like, why do you got to take it out on us when they play bad? Because we do. Especially when you don't expect it. The only good part about yesterday was my flight home was not delayed. The one time when you go to a noon game, you know it's going to end around 3. My flight was at 4:45. And I was like, well, I'm not worried. It's going to get delayed because it seems like every Southwest flight in the last several months has been delayed. Nope, took off right on time. Now, fortunately, I mean, literally, you walk into the airport, you go through check, get up to the gate, and they were boarding. So we didn't have to wait there long. I was home by 6 o'clock. But just what a disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they just went out and laid an egg. Denver isn't that good. Dallas isn't that bad. But are there some reasons to be concerned? I'm not worried about the offense. Dak looked rusty. Terrence Steele is not the answer at left tackle. He was a revolving door. I mean, how many times? I mean, you know, here's what I really love about Terrence Steele. When he gives up a sack, that dude is the first one there to help his quarterback up. I mean, he is I wonder what he says to Dak. Sorry about that one, man. You all right? Let me help you up. He really is. He's the first guy to help up his quarterback. I am a little worried about the defense, though, because if they don't get takeaways, they're not very good. Their run defense was awful yesterday. Their tackling was awful yesterday. Their physical play was lacking yesterday. To steal a line from Jeff Traylor, it looked like the Dallas Cowboys ate all the cheese. They ate it all. They showed up thinking they were going to get a win. Maybe it was the noon kickoff, the fact that it wasn't on national TV. Whatever the case is, it was just a bad game all around for the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, we'll talk about it throughout the day with you. You want to dial us up on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You can get us on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. James Pledger is producing. He's always on Twitter at IamPledger. Wearing a Texas Longhorn hat today. And see, and I'm to the point now where the Longhorns no longer ruin my Saturday night with piss poor play like we saw Saturday night names Iowa. In fact, Saturday night, I'm at a bar in the Deep Ellum part of Dallas. I think it was called Last Call or Will Call or something like that, right? Right next to a great Chinese restaurant called Hawker's. If you're ever looking for a good place to eat, and Pecan Lounge has a line 2 hours long, go over to Hawker's, man. That place was great. But we're at this bar, and the Longhorn game was on, and about 9:15, I'm like, hey, can we get the UTSA game turned on? And so a guy comes over, and he's got a UNT hat. And I just didn't tell him. I just, like, ESPN2. And he's going through the channels. He flips it over right about the time McCormick was getting to the end zone on the second play of the game. I mean, they scored that fast. And he gave me a look. And I just smiled in. But he put the game on. I was turned the Longhorn game off to put on. Of course, the Longhorn game was over at that point. We all knew that. Jeff Traylor will join us coming up at 6 o'clock as he joins us every week. But, yeah, Pledge, you're wearing your Longhorn hat today. I mean, why? I haven't seen you wear that Longhorn hat ever. Did you just buy that?
It's fairly new. I've worn it once before.
I don't recognize. Cool looking hat. I think I would have remembered that one. Well, you wear it on a Saturday morning as a possibility, but yeah, it's not good. But you know what's weird about yesterday's day in the NFL? is all the Super Bowl contenders not named the Arizona Cardinals lost. I mean, it was just that weird Sunday in which I'm going to guess Vegas, your online spot, and your local bookie all made a lot of money. I don't know anybody that was a winner this week betting NFL games. I mean, quite honestly, I haven't talked to anybody, but I'm going to guess that nobody was a winner this week. I mean, you can call it a wake-up call all you want, but explain to me how Buffalo loses to Jacksonville. And the Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime, and the Jaguar Josh Allen had the better day, not the MVP candidate Josh Allen, who happens to be my fantasy quarterback. You look at that was just crazy. The Giants, they beat the Raiders. And I know the Raiders have been going through some stuff, but they still shouldn't lose to the Giants. The Browns not only win, but they blow out the Cincinnati Bengals. The Patriots crush Carolina. The Titans over the Rams last night. As a Cowboy fan, do you chalk it up to the odd Sunday with the time change? What do you do? How do you explain the NFL to anybody after this weekend? Nobody had a good weekend picking games this weekend. I'm afraid to check our Pinkerton's Pro Football Pick'em.
You're still on top. You got a 3-point lead.
Okay, so you've already checked.
Yeah, 96 points.
Which just tells me everybody sucked this weekend. I mean, my goodness. And on the Pinkerton's Pro Football Pick'em Challenge, I actually picked the Texans to beat the Dolphins. I don't know why. They couldn't even do that. But if you ever wonder what's going on with the Houston Texans, you just have to listen to their head coach. David Coley is a nice man, and he's been in football for a long time. But whatever spin he is trying to put on this losing streak is beyond me. I mean, this was David Coley trying to explain yesterday's loss.
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times.
Now, that's generally a pretty true statement. You turn the ball over 4 times, you've got no chance of winning. Unless, of course, you get 5 takeaways. You win the turnover ratio. But David Coley says if you get 4 turnovers, it doesn't matter how many the other team has. You're going to lose.
It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. It's a formula that's been in this league, in all leagues, that when you play that way, you have no chance to win.
So if you get 5 takeaways and turn the ball over 4 times and win the turnover margin, you're going to lose. So if you get to 4, what David Coley is trying to explain here is you need to get to 5 or maybe even 6, because 4 apparently is the magic number. That if you get 4 turnovers in the game, you're going to lose if you're stuck on the number 4. I mean, listen to what David Coley, I'll play it in its entirety, and you try to make sense of nonsense.
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times. It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. It's a formula that's been in this league, in all leagues, that when you play that way, you have no chance.
That's like deciding when to go for 2. I mean, there's a chart somewhere that apparently if you got 4, you got to Miami read the chart right. They got to 5 turnovers so they could win. Because if you're stuck at 4, you have no chance to win. Apparently, that's a formula that's been the secret formula for coaches forever in football, according to David Coley.
The head coach of the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a nice man. He's a really nice man.
I'm sure he
is.
And
if he would have just stopped.
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times.
Stop. Don't say another word. And you're right. Until you get the follow-up question of, but you got 5 takeaways. You actually won the turnover battle. But according to David Coley, who's got 40 years in the National Football League, there's a secret chart somewhere hidden away that only the coaches know about, that if you get to 4, you're going to lose, even if your defense gets you 5 takeaways.
It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers.
If you
it
get
doesn't
4.
matter. It's
Do you
a
believe
formula
this crap?
that's been in this league, in all leagues.
All leagues.
When you play that way, you have no chance to.
I need to hear from you, Little League coaches. Tell me about this formula. Let me into the secret Facebook group where this is posted. I for the life of me, I don't understand David Coley. I know he is sitting up there spewing whatever he needs to spew week after week, trying to explain the unexplainable when it comes to his Houston Texans. And I feel really bad that really nice man finally gets a head coaching job, and that's the roster he has to deal with. You ever wonder why coaches make a lot of money?
It's not about the roster.
What is it, Pledge? It is the roster.
Come on.
It's the roster.
David Culley would be a bad head coach no matter what roster you gave him.
I don't know. I mean, I don't believe that.
He's declining penalties that would give him a first down.
He is trying to lose football games. He's not there to win. You know, you look at like Jeff Traylor got 9th win and a $100,000 bonus Saturday night with that win over UTEP. I think David Coley has a secret formula that he gets bonuses every time they lose a game. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense here.
That's perfect.
Like, dude, if you win games, you're going to get fired. We need you to lose. We need you to lose. Because when I watch them play and the decisions he makes, my 23-year-old daughter would make better football decisions if she were trying to win a game. My dog that's 14 years old, 15 or whatever she is, and deaf would make better football decisions than what you're seeing David Coley. And at least he entertains me. I mean, you know, quite frankly, without that soundbite, we don't talk about the Houston Texans. So at least we're talking about them. I mean, that's almost like a page out of the Jerry Jones playbook. You know, and then you look at Cliff Kingsbury. You know, they're the only contender that won a game yesterday, which is surprising. I bet you the Buccaneers are glad they had a bye week because they would have lost too based on the trends that we saw. But even the Arizona Cardinals were set up not to win with no Kyler Murray. Instead, it was former Longhorn Colt McCoy goes out there and leads Arizona to a win. And Cliff Kingsbury, the Red Raider that he is, of course, has to take a shot at UT fans and rub a little salt in the wound.
Yeah, that's how he prepares each and every day. Consummate professional. He knows where to go with the ball. He gets it out quick, gets us into the right play, protected it all day, which we knew we had to do. And I'm happy for those University of Texas fans because after that game yesterday, at least they had to find some solace in that. I knew we had to play good for all my friends down in Austin so they could celebrate Colt. But just a tremendous leader, tremendous player, and that was fun to be a part of.
Bite me, Cliff. I mean, you look at it. He's right, though. I mean, Arizona's playing really good football no matter who their quarterback is. I mean, that might be more impressive than Cooper Rush getting a win the other day, although we know Colt has played many a games in the NFL, but I don't know what the hell has happened to San Francisco in their defense. I mean, it's just a crazy day in the NFL. We'll talk a lot about it today as we continue on the Blitz. Daryl Johnston, the Moose, will join us at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. RJ Ochoa will try to make sense of the Cowboys' loss when he joins us at 5. We'll talk Clint Stoerner at 6:30. Talk a little football. Talk a little Texans football, a little college football. William says he likes it when I'm in a bad mood. What he put up there, you scrolled through them really fast, James Pledger, but something about the Titans being a contender. A week ago, I might have said that until Derrick Henry got hurt. And I'm a fan of Ryan Tannehill. And there are some pieces on that Tennessee team that I like. But I don't know that I'm ready to call them a contender, sure. On a good day, would they beat Buffalo? On a good day, but Tennessee showed me something last night. But I don't know if that was more about what Matt Stafford was doing or if that was more about what Tennessee was doing. I mean, I do have Ryan Tannehill in my bad quarterback league, and I started him last night, and I got a win with him in my bad quarterback league. I just don't know without Derrick Henry if that team is going to be able to get it done. There's just something about them. I really like what Baltimore did yesterday. Down big to Minnesota. Then again, it was the Vikings. That's in their playbook. Kind of like the Spurs. Get yourself a double-digit lead and then watch it disappear late and take another L. Yeah, the Spurs did that last night too. We'll talk about the Spurs. And not about the loss, but the silver and black linings. Because there were some positives in that game. We don't talk wins and losses with the Spurs. We talk about the silver and black linings. It's crazy. 656 ESPN, 656-3776. Let's talk a little college football. Longhorns, they sucked. I mean, they are what they are. How about those Aggies? How about those Texas A&M Aggies overcoming the Rob Thompson Mambo King curse and getting a win? It wasn't pretty, but it doesn't have to be. It's a win. But they kept Auburn out of the end zone. Now, their offense didn't score a touchdown, but it doesn't matter. That was a hell of a win for Texas A&M and for Mike Elko's defense. I mean, that defense was incredible.
Grown-ass man.
That was grown-ass man defense. I mean, that was an incredible win by Texas A&M. They should get celebrated big time for that, and their path is still wide open. Now, they got to go to Oxford this weekend. They got to take care of Ole Miss. It's going to be a big party down there. What do they call it? The Grove. It's going to be, there's no reason for A&M to eat the cheese after that win, right? I mean, this is in Alabama, and the way they beat Alabama, Zach Calzada gets hurt, keeps playing. It's one of those things. UTSA 9-0 on the season, undefeated, up to number 15 in the AP poll. We'll find out tomorrow if they get ranked in the playoff thingamajigger. But to steal all the tennis terms I can, game, set, match. I mean, that's all I know. That was just an impressive win because I thought that was supposed to be a good game. I thought UTEP was supposed to give them a fight. When you've got a Canelo fight on the opposite TV, isn't that what we all thought we were going to get from UTEP? The fact that UTSA shows up to every game that ready to play and just dominates is incredible. UIW had an incredible win on Saturday at Benson Stadium. Eric Morris becomes the winningest coach in UIW program history. They're on track now to win that Southland Conference title, get the playoff seed, all that kind of business. They're in great shape. But that game was wild, 55-52. That was crazy. And how about Trinity? They beat Birmingham Southern 28-27 on the road. So they win the Southern Athletic Association title. Even Texas State got a win this weekend. They beat Louisiana Monroe 27-19. Former MacArthur quarterback Tyler Vitt named the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week in his second start of the season. Jake Spavital up there has kind of gone back and forth with his quarterbacks. And, I mean, the way they played the week before, for Texas State to bounce back and get a nice win like that, huge for the Bobcats. Spurs lose again. Derek White continues to struggle. Continues to struggle. I think it was Jeff McDonald that said he's been on the struggle bus and the bus is on fire. That might be being too kind. I don't know what's going on with Derek White. Even Greg Popovich said, quote, Derek's having a tough time right now in a lot of ways. We need him. We need him to be a good player every night. That's just a fact. And it's pretty easy to see. You and I made as many shots as Derek White last night in Oklahoma City. We'll go over the Spurs coming up at about 4:45. Of course, we'll take your phone calls, 656-ESPN, 656-3776. when I think about the Dallas Cowboys last night, I don't want to say they needed that win, but they probably did. I heard a lot of players say that in their post-game comments, that they needed that wake-up call. And in reality, they lost to an AFC team. So if you're going to lose to somebody, I'm looking for the icing on that turd, right? I mean, you lose to an AFC team. If you're going to lose to somebody, that's who you lose to. Mike McCarthy, though, not a fan of we needed that kind of wake-up call.
Oh, no, I don't believe in that. No, at all. No, we didn't need that. I didn't need it. We didn't need that. We've been playing good football. So I understand the feeling of it. But, there's other ways to get attention and refocus. And that's definitely not my preference.
And again, sometimes you do need a good ass kicking. Sometimes you got to go eat all the cheese and then deal with those ramifications. And the ramifications were the Denver Broncos. I was at that game yesterday. A lot of orange in that building. But what I go to a lot of Cowboy games. And Jerry World and the Cowboys are a destination weekend for the visiting team. You always see a lot of the other color jersey in that building. Whether it's Green Bay, whether it's Pittsburgh, whether it's whoever. I mean, in every fan base, oh, man, we took over that stadium. Shut up. It always is that way at seemingly every Cowboy game. But, man, there was a lot of orange in that building yesterday. I don't want to say that, if I think the most I've ever seen of an opposing fan not named Green Bay would be the Houston Texans a few years ago. Remember when, J.J. Watt had Tony Romo wrapped up and couldn't bring him down, and Tony got that. A lot of disappointed Texan fan that was the most that I've personally ever seen. Pittsburgh certainly travels well. Green Bay is always right up there. But there was a lot of Denver Bronco fans in the building, a lot of orange in the building. I hope I see as much orange in the Alamo Dome on Saturday when UTSA returns home. But one of the things that I found interesting with that game, I mean, it was 30-0 at one point. And those of you that have Dak or any Cowboy player on your offense were pissed because you were not only watching your favorite team lose, but you were also losing valuable fantasy points. But while a lot of subs came in the game, Dak stayed in. And I thought it was interesting, Mike McCarthy talking today about why he left Dak in that game in a blowout.
Well, I don't think there's just a straight get him out or, keep him in. I think I made this clear yesterday. The reason why we stayed with our players particularly, we didn't play a whole lot in the third quarter. So, and, 2 minutes is something that we've been trying to spend as much time on as possible. So, frankly, it was risk assessment. It was accepted risk and just really paying it forward, So, if we would have had a chain of events that totally lined up for us at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
It would have been one of those games that you'd be talking about for the next 20 years. But that obviously wasn't the case. But, yeah, I said it right on the headsets. We're going to stay. I want 2 minute, wide open. Well, we need to work. And that was the plan.
Yeah, let's pad those stats. Fantasy numbers matter. I mean, that's what it boiled down to. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people have that number 17. A whole bunch of people, you saw, was that Cooper's first drop of the season on a crucial 3rd and 1? I mean, Dak was not sharp yesterday, but his receivers did not help him out. The offensive line did not help him out. And it's not your day when you block a punt and the punting team ends up with a first down. At the game, nobody knew what was going on. Did they at least explain it well on television, James? I mean, did they bring in the rules guy that said, yep, that's what happens?
Yeah, I mean, they basically said it was the Leon Lett play, only punting. In special teams, it's the same deal. The offense touches the ball, it can be recovered for a first down by the punting team or the defense.
That's a rule that needs to change. I mean, that really is. Because the recovering Bronco did not get enough yardage for a first down. It's not like the Cowboys possessed it. You block a punt and you get penalized for that? There's something wrong with that. And again, Des caught it. And 3 years later, they changed the rule. But that was just dumb. That's a dumb rule. I mean, if you block a punt and a guy touches it on a blocked punt, the ball's going anywhere, right? You can just one guy touches it beyond the line of scrimmage, and you can recover it for a first down. You don't have to get the first down yardage. That is a dumb rule. Now, if he would have touched it and ran for a first down, okay, I could see that. But on a mad scramble with a ball that is not supposed, that guy's not supposed to be looking for the ball, and it touches him, you lose possession after a blocked punt. You block a punt, you should not be penalized by a dumb rule. I thought that was dumb.
I mean, I get it, but it's just like Thanksgiving, Leon Lett blocking the punt or blocking the field goal, trying to recover it, and then the Dolphins got it back and ended up getting another chance to kick the field goal.
Well, and I mean, because it went forward. I mean, again, you shouldn't be penalized for that. Yeah, that was dumb. Let's talk some college football. Talk about that Aggies win over Auburn. Peter Burns from the SEC Network. He will join us next. Don't forget Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joins us at 5:30. You know, I've had a water softener in my home from Alamo Water Softeners for over a decade now. Wouldn't live without one. You know you want the best water quality for your family. So go to alamowatersofteners.com. Go to the website, schedule an appointment to have one of their whole home specialists come out to your house for a free water analysis, and they'll give you a customized plan for your family and home. And right now at Alamo Water Softeners, they're offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Get a standard free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system. That while supplies last. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Peter Burns joins us next right after Sports Center with James Pledger.
Thanks, Jason. As you mentioned, the Cowboys' 6-game win streak was snapped as they fell 30-16 to the Denver Broncos, as they're now 6-2 on the year. The Texans lost their 7th straight, falling 17-9 to the Miami Dolphins. In college football, the 14th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies beat 13th-ranked Auburn 20-3 over the weekend. UTSA remains unbeaten with the convincing 44-23 win against UTEP, in which Frank Harris threw for 286 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rushed for 76 yards and 2 more scores, while Sincere McCormick had 169 yards and a score in the win. Don't forget, UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor will join the Blitz coming up at 6 o'clock. The Longhorns lost their 4th straight as Iowa State scored 27 straight in a 30-7 win, as the Longhorns have now dropped to 4-5 on the year. The Incarnate Word Cardinals are up from 22 to 17th in this week's FCS rankings after a 55-52 win over then 6th-ranked Southeastern Louisiana, as Cam Ward threw for 610 yards and 7 touchdowns in the win, while the undefeated 18th-ranked Trinity Tigers beat Birmingham Southern 28-7 over the weekend. The Spurs fell to 3-7, falling to the Thunder 99-94. I'm James Pledger, and this Sports Center brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Rock the Mic is back at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. You know we've narrowed it down to our top 13. You've been voting online at sasportstar.com, and they're ready to show you what they've got. Join us at Slackers this week to help us decide on a winner, and you can enter to win Dallas Cowboys home game tickets. Wednesday, November 10th, we'll be at the Slackers New St. Mary's location, and on Thursday, we'll be at the Slackers Medical Center location. Rock the Mic 2021, brought to you by Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar, and in part by Jim Beam.
For nearly 30 years, Thomas J. Henry has fought day in and day out for every client we've had the honor of representing. In our town, in our community, we will always be the name you trust. Thomas J. Henry. Available 24/7 nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Joel, I love the hunting season.
What's with the outfit, Nigel?
Oh, yes. This is my hunting attire, complete with my bright red jacket, hunting horn. I am the master of the foxhounds.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. I love the tradition of hunting as the hounds chase the fox.
Whoa, Nigel. Hunting is a little different here in Texas.
And like hunting, plumbing, heating, and air conditioner repairs are all about preparation, skill, and having the right equipment.
That's true. And all our quarter moon technicians with a fleet of fully stocked trucks know what to do when plumbing, heat, and AC issues pop up out of nowhere. Nigel, where'd you go?
Joel, can you give me a hand? I can't get my horse down from the deer blind.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. From the outhouse to the penthouse, call us day or night, 651-5899.
License number M13229, TACLA 000743450E.
Tally ho!
You love Zoom for video meetings? Now, choose Zoom to power your phone communications too. Zoom Phone works seamlessly within the Zoom app as your business phone system. Zoom Phone's secure HD audio and enterprise-grade reliability keep you connected to your teams and your customers. And it's easy to use on mobile, desktop, or desk phone. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Zoom, how the world connects.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes! It's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year. The one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire lines, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing. Next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
The annual San Antonio Auto and Truck Show is November 12th through the 14th. See new cars and trucks, extraordinary exotics, and learn about the latest in energy efficiency. Take part in exclusive ride-and drives, all new experiences, kids' activities, and the food truck fiesta. Don't miss it.
Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Let's talk some college football with our friend Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Playing hurt like Zach Calzada, just pop it back in and get out there and get it done. Peter, man, how's your Monday?
See, it's my voice that's hurt. Like if I had a real injury like Calzada had, where they had to like actually have some pain tolerance, like I'd be out for like the remainder of the year. I would just be milking it for all the likes and Instagram. Like, oh, poor Burns is in the hospital. Calzada's like, to hell with it. Just popping it back in because I got a football game to win. He's awesome.
Although I would say a sore throat for a talk show host is the same as a dislocated shoulder for a quarterback.
Trust me, it's the same thing, right? It's like when Peyton Manning, his arm strength wasn't great for the Denver Broncos. He still found a way to win a Super Bowl. So I'll try. I'm going to give it my all. Like I'm not injured. I'm playing hurt for you today, Minix. That's what it is.
And I appreciate it. Now, is the injury cold/allergy related, or screaming at the TV with your wife when Alabama and LSU are going back and forth? And man, Ed Ogeron is doing a hell of a coach now that he doesn't really have a job.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, how cool would it be if every coach as if they don't really care, right? They're like, screw it, whatever. Like, I got my money guaranteed anyway. Like, it'd be fantastic. But alas, that doesn't happen. Like, this was actually probably the calmest I've ever been for an LSU-Alabama game because I had no expectations whatsoever. And, it was funny because my wife is looking at it like, oh, my God, I can't believe it's a close game. And, it goes to show you, part of it was, hey, they were playing with house money. LSU was. They had nothing to lose. But Alabama's got some issues, right? I mean, this is a team that A&M took advantage of. This offensive line got pushed around by LSU, and they can't run the ball. Like, Minix, I don't ever recall a Alabama team only be able to get 6 rushing yards in a game. Like, that was unbelievable.
6 total rushing yards for the entire game.
18 feet is what they got in rushing yards. That's nuts when you think about, just that's how Nick Saban likes to win ball games. He likes to play great defense and run the ball extremely well. And they did basically neither that night.
Yeah, you look at it, and obviously, I mean, where Alabama is at right now in the playoff rankings and where they're likely to be when the new rankings come out tomorrow. And again, I mean, are they a playoff team? Are they ripe for an upset? I mean, I still look at it's Georgia and everybody else, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just nobody's really taken that mantle. I thought Ohio State had looked kind of like that team for a couple of weeks, and then they sputter a little bit. I mean, they looked a little bit better against Penn State, but they struggled against Nebraska. Oregon wasn't great against Washington. Cincinnati kind of struggled with Tulsa. I mean, Tulsa had an opportunity late in that game to tie it up. And Cincinnati had to have a goal line stand to beat a 3-5 Tulsa team. So there's just not that other team that looks like they're like, all right, well, yeah, they're going at the at full speed. Now, I am interested to see what Lincoln Riley can do with Caleb Williams now that he's starting to become the starter. And now they got to face Baylor. They still have Oklahoma State and Iowa State in their schedule. So we'll know a lot more about Oklahoma here in the next 2-3 weeks.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And you mentioned Cincinnati, and obviously around here in San Antonio, a lot of talk about what about us. And again, I'm like, the UTSA Roadrunners, as incredible of a year as they're having, and they're 9-0. They're not a playoff team. They're not ever going to get invited to that dance. I don't understand why so many seem so butthurt over not getting ranked last week. And you look at their strength of schedule. Now, when the Commissioner Dude, or the chairman of the committee, called them USTA, all right, I understand that disrespect, and maybe they do get ranked tomorrow night, but ultimately it doesn't matter. They're not going to go to the playoff.
No, and again, I almost look at it as like, there's 2 different games here. If you're a contender for college football playoff, you want to be in the ranking. But for UTSA, the AP ranking is something that's important, right? It's one of the reasons why that, Jeff Traylor found that he was getting respect from, the media. He's also getting respect from, the paycheck as well for UTSA. So that worked out pretty well for him. But, I think that they'll be ranked a little bit higher this week. Trust me, I'm doing everything I can. I'm like politicking as much. I hosted College Football Live yesterday, and they didn't have anything about UTSA in the rundown. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, this is one of the 4 undefeated teams. Like, make sure we give the Roadrunners a little respect. So I'm doing all I can over here on my front here.
Well, and again, in that game on ESPN2 on Saturday night, and what was supposed to be one hell of a battle, a stiff test for UTSA, and they ran away with it. I mean, the final score looks somewhat respectable from UTEP's standpoint, but if you're watching the game, you realize UTSA dominated from start to finish.
Yeah, right from the get-go, right? Taking it to the house, first play or that first drive. And yeah, I mean, listen, people look at this and they think of, it's UTEP. Well, UTEP's not a bad place, and the Sun Bowl is not necessarily the easiest place to play. They normally do pretty well with fans. So, I think that's the next step for this program, is to continue to build upon it. And again, we say, hey, UTSA can't become a college football playoff contender, and I get it under the situation that it is right now with 4 teams. But That's why it's so important that they played well. Everything, the facilities are good, because what's happening is now going to the American, they're going to get an opportunity once this 12-team playoff comes around in either 2024 or 2026 to be involved in those conversations a lot more, because they have escalated their program to the fact that they are not one of these lower tier conferences that nobody respects.
Very true. Peter Burns from the SEC Network joining us here on the Blitz, playing through a sore throat, which I appreciate. Imagine every Aggie fan has a sore throat. The crowd at Kyle Field was incredible, and they saw a great defensive battle. The fact that Mike Elko's group held the Auburn Tigers out of the end zone, 20-3, the final score. The path for A&M is still available to them. Is it one you think they could ultimately take at the end?
Yeah, I mean, the path for them is pretty simple. They continue to win out, and I think that they're going to meet a, kind of a banged-up Ole Miss team that they should be able to handle fairly easy coming up this weekend. And Auburn is a solid team. I think that with Bo Nix, you find some days that he's good and bad. What you now need to pull for if you're an Aggie fan, as you know, is, hey, Auburn to play extremely good football, and they need to beat Alabama, which, again, I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought Alabama was clearly the second best team in the country, but they have a lot of issues right now. So it's there. I will say this, even better news is the fact that Texas Tech hired the Baylor assistant coach and didn't go try to grab Mike Elko out of College Station. Like, that's a monster, sigh of relief right now, because Mike Elko is maybe one of the best top 3 or 4 defensive coordinators in all of football.
Well, and there's still a chance he ends up somewhere, but you're right. And I think, from a Texas Tech standpoint, I mean, Joey McGuire has a high school coaching resume in the state of Texas very similar to Jeff Traylor. And if Traylor was their number one choice, and everything that I've heard he was, when he was off the table, all the talk of Sonny Dykes or some of the other guys, they wanted somebody apparently with Texas high school coaching and in tight with all the coaches and the coaches association, and McGuire was the next best. I mean, and again, that's what they went and got. That's why Matt Rule hired him when he first got to Waco. I need somebody with connections with high school coaches in the state of Texas, very similar to Charlie Strong hiring Jeff Traylor when he did.
Well, and I think that's an ultimate tip of the cap. I mean, think about it. Did we ever I know growing up in San Antonio for 20 years, did I ever think, I didn't even know we have a damn football team, but we have one. But now the fact of, like, Texas Tech came after your coach, and your coach chose San Antonio, to stay with the Roadrunners and Texas Tech. I mean, that's an amazing flip right now, and it goes to show you why, this program needs to be supported each and every week.
Absolutely. Peter Burns joining us here on the Blitz. Peter, I won't keep you long, but when you look at A&M and their path, what do they need? They've got to beat, Ole Miss and LSU. I know they've got Prairie View on the schedule. We can go ahead and put that one in Sharpie, right? They get those 3 wins and root for Auburn, and then you get the kind of chaos that we always seem to get and want in college football in late November, right?
Yeah, you just want a shot. That's all you want right now. And again, I mean, this is 2 years in a row where you're like, my goodness, you look back at games for A&M, especially Mississippi State, and you're like, wait a minute, like this team can compete. And of all years, this is a year in which I think a 12-team playoff, nobody would want to face A&M, because they're getting better. They've got playmakers. They've got great skill position players, and they have a lockdown defense. Like, there is no, really truly dominant team outside of Georgia. So, again, I'm pulling for chaos. I'd love to see it. And my wife's not within earshot right now, so I can tell you I'm pulling for Auburn against Alabama, just because I want to see Texas A&M, and I want to see some new blood, something that I think, the Aggie fans deserve right now, to see if that can happen out in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
And again, I mean, we all love chaos. We all love weird stuff. Dan Mullen's got to deal with a quarterback who hurt himself dancing in the team hotel. I mean, you want chaos, you get chaos.
Well, that's college football, right? Anthony Richardson, he was in concussion protocol, and then we find out that he didn't play. And then we asked questions, wait a minute, I heard it was the flu. Was it a flu? No, he hurt himself dancing. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is like, it goes to show you, man, all these programs, Nebraska's struggling, Florida's struggling. All of these kind of big name programs, if you take your eye off the ball for, just a second, all of a sudden you can find yourself in a world of hurt.
I can't imagine calling the head coach. I was dancing and I hurt my knee. And then you wonder, you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds and stuff like that's going to happen.
I just want to know what the dance move was like, because I'm sure what it is I'm sure it was probably something for a TikTok. So somebody probably has photographic evidence that they had to either delete, or it's probably out there that he was, trying to do the Dougie or something like that. And all of a sudden, Anthony Richardson goes down, and just to see that, just to see how people reacted. Oh my goodness. It's a house of horrors going on right now.
It really is. Peter Burns from the SEC Network, man, rest your voice, get some medicine, some of those lozenges, and be ready to go for tomorrow, man.
I'm ready, buddy. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Max.
Peter Burns of the SEC Network as he joins us every week. And I tell you, Aggie fans, things are setting up for you. I mean, to think about after the loss to Arkansas, or maybe the loss to Mississippi State, you thought, man, all hope is lost. And when is Haynes King going to get back? Doesn't look like he is. Then you beat Alabama. And then you hold Auburn out of the end zone. I mean, that's a good Auburn offense. I know Bo Nix can be Jekyll and Hyde, and I was talking about that on Friday with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. But I did not expect a performance like that out of the Texas A&M defense. That was incredible. And again, go on the road this week to Ole Miss. You got an LSU team that, probably the final game for Ed O. Although, again, the way that team has played since he got fired but didn't leave is pretty impressive. I mean, and you talk about coaches that get fired and don't leave. How about TCU knocking off Baylor? And then you find out Gary Patterson got fired, says, you know what, I'm not coaching the rest of the year. Yet he was in the building all week helping with the defensive game plan. He just didn't want to stand on the sideline as the sitting duck guy, but he also didn't want to leave his players and his staff out to dry. Listening to Tim Brando on the call talking about, I called Gary Patterson just to wish him well. And what was he doing? He was in the office working on the defense. And TCU knocks off Baylor. Texas can't seem to buy a win. Gotta love college football. Talk about the Spurs coming up. Also, the Moose, Daryl Johnston, he will join us at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. After being in Dallas over the weekend, got up this morning, wanted a good breakfast to start my day because I woke up kind of in a bad mood. So I wanted to eat something solid. So I heated up some of those Kielbasa Smoked Meats Maple Breakfast Links. They are fantastic. And for a couple minutes, I felt really good because those Maple Breakfast Links are incredible. They are available at select H-E-B stores. If you haven't tried them, you are missing out. These breakfast links are a little sweet, little savory, totally delicious. They are perfect for that great weekend breakfast spread. But if you've got a busy weekday morning, whether you're taking the kids to school, trying to get to the office, going to the gym, whatever it is, they come fully cooked. So all you have to do is heat them up, and you've got a tasty breakfast as you start your day. Now, you could do them in a pan. I put them in the microwave for 45 seconds because I'm lazy, and they are fantastic. You can find Kielbasa Maple Breakfast Links at select H-E-B stores. If they're not at the one you go to, tell the manager to get them and then go to the H-E-B that does have them. They are worth the trip. Make sure you go get yourself some Kielbasa today.
We've got your free tickets to see every Dallas Cowboys home game all season long. Register to win now at sasportstar.com. Cheer on America's team on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
For over 2 centuries, Jim Beam has been bringing people together. Now you can bring them wherever you go with friends and family. Introducing Jim Beam Highballs to go, refreshing and ready for sharing. Their classic highball and Beam and Ginger Highball are made with Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. They're a new take on a tradition, 7 generations in the making. Find Jim Beam Highballs to go at a store near you. Jim Beam Classic Highball made with Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, natural flavors, and seltzer water. 5% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2020, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart.
Been thinking about natural biologic therapies to treat your chronic joint pain? Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics.
To me, it is such an easy decision. If you are truly looking to avoid surgery and not treat yourself with Band-Aids like steroids and pain meds, then really there is no other option. And that's what I love so much about what I get to do.
QC Kinetics offers a variety of restorative natural options to rejuvenate the tissue in your joints and give you your life back.
When they come back a few months later, and it's so affirming to see their quality of life change in such a positive way.
Are you tired of the joint pain that keeps you from living your best life? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about these exciting restorative and regenerative options.
And you've been looking for an answer, something to avoid surgery. I'm just giving you the answer you've been looking for. QC Kinetics. Kinetics is energy in motion. We want to keep you in motion.
Get your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318 in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
The marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. So why fight? Call divorcedude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude, with Polling Law PLLC. Divorcedude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the divorcedude.com can fight for you. Divorcedude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? Divorcedude.com.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain, whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at exergen.com.
Ribs, burgers, chicken. Submit what you cooked on the grill or smoker, and you can win a $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Market. Grilling with the Blitz. Online at sasportstar.com.
Hey, this is Sarah Spain, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Yeah, you heard the big voice man. You did some grilling this weekend. Make sure you take a photo of that meat, that beautiful meat on your grill. Upload it at sasportstar.com. Grilling with the Blitz coming up on Thursday. Jeff Traylor, he will join us at 6 o'clock. 9-0. The Moose, Daryl Johnston at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. Lots of football on this Monday. It's a football Monday here on the Blitz. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along. But let's work in a little bit of Spurs basketball. You know, my day yesterday, well, my Saturday night was really good up in Dallas. And noon kickoffs kind of suck when you want to get up early and tailgate. Then you factor in the time change. Then I go to the Cowboys game. They get their ass kicked. I got a 4:45 flight. It's the first time in forever that I remember Southwest actually took off on time, but I did make the flight with no problem. Get home at 6 o'clock to watch the Spurs, and they start off pretty good. And then they do what the Spurs do, and they blow a double-digit lead. What we do here on the Blitz, because we know the Spurs aren't going to be very good, is we don't look at wins and losses. We don't believe in moral victories, but we do seek out what we will call the black and silver linings. And one day we'll get a nice produced intro for that. One day. James Pledger's on it.
I'm working on it.
He's working on it. About the time Derek White finds his shot, we'll actually have that thing produced.
See, it's perfect timing.
So you got a while, James. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Derek White. I mean, you know, and this is called silver and black lining, so we're not going to bitch about Derek White. But Keldon Johnson finally played a really good game. I liked what I saw out of Kelton. Now, granted, I was going back and forth with the Sunday night game last night. And I'm trying to think what else. Defense looked really good. I like that. I like the fact that he gets to play every now and then. And they need him right now until Pirtle gets back. I'm waiting for Greg Popovich, who keeps preaching patience, to completely lose his stuff. Because you know it's coming. Even when you're watching last night and you realize Oklahoma City's got, 3 big come-from-behind wins? You know it's happening. And they've got a double-digit lead that they blow again. That third quarter was just awful last night, and the fourth quarter wasn't any better. They got Washington coming in. Saw the highlights from their game last night on Scott Van Pelt, and man, I don't know what to expect out of this Washington team. It is just bizarre. But another frustrating loss for the San Antonio Spurs. On a night where Keldon plays well, Derek White was awful, and DeJounte wasn't that much better. And one of these nights, they'll be able to put it all together. One of these nights, they might be able to get it all together and actually get a win. And I told you, I'm not going to get mad at losses with the Spurs. But frustrated? That could be considered something completely different. Spurs back in action on Wednesday night. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. RJ Ochoa will join us next. We'll talk about the Cowboys beatdown. What kind of concerns do you have after watching one game? And not to overreact to one game. I'm not worried about the offense. I am a little worried about the defense. And I was coming into the game. I mean, if they don't get takeaways, are they able to still play good defense? They did last week against Minnesota. They did not yesterday. Denver was more physical. The Cowboys didn't tackle worth a crap. They didn't cover worth a crap. And with Trayvon Diggs, he gave up that touchdown pass early. Again, I think that's what we will learn from Diggs. He's going to get you picks, but he's going to risk some things. And if he gambles and loses, feels like as a Cowboy fan, we will all pay. We will talk about that coming up with RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. We also have Daryl Johnston, the Moose, will join us coming up at 5:30. It's kind of chilly today. Those cold weather days are coming. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, you need to get your logo on that winter gear. You need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club down on San Pedro. He's got his winter line out on display in that showroom now. Jackets, coats, hoodies, half zips, beanies, all the big name brands, North Face, Eddie Bauer, Port Authority, Nike, just to name a few. And Sam has plenty of inventory in stock. Not many can say that, obviously, but Sammy can. He's got the winter gear in stock. He's got your polos, your T-shirts, your hats in stock. In fact, Sammy has the largest selection of caps, including the popular Richardson style cap in stock. He's got over 10,000 hats on display in his showroom. Think about a place like Lids probably has 3,000 or 4,000. Sam has over 700 uniform lines you can choose from, and not just embroidery, silkscreen shirts as well. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands. Only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. All items come with a warranty. No order too big, no order too small. You need one item, you need 10, you need 250, you need 10,000. Sammy will get you taken care of. Call Sammy's Embroidery at 210-824-3900, 824-3900, or better yet, go by that massive showroom. It's down on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's, or check the website, samsembroidery.com, samsembroidery.com for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Happy Christmas. Rapping with Jack. Benefiting Family Service Association is happening now through December 4th. Benefiting the most needy families this holiday season. There are 3 ways to help. Give cash now, shop the Amazon wish list, or drop off donations at our designated locations. Complete details now at sasportstar.com. Presented by Quarter Moon, Plumbing, Heat, and AC. And in part by River City Oral Surgery, Institute for Functional Health, and Copenhagen Contemporary Furniture.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house for a free water analysis. And right now, Alamo Water Softeners is offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil is only $19.99. It's the hottest deal of the year for the coldest time of the year. So if you're in your car right now, there's no need to turn on the heat. I'm about to read this sizzler again. That's Napa full synthetic for a hot $19.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations, does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Offer ends 12/31/21.
Dell Technologies' biggest business sale of the year has arrived. Step up your vision with top tech up to 45% off during their early access Black Friday event. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Plus, get incredible savings on Windows 11 PCs, along with servers, monitors, and docks, all with free shipping. There's also special financing with Dell Business Credit. Get started by contacting your Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors. Rated #1 for reliability in the under 100 horsepower category, they're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $1,400. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon as we dissect a crappy Cowboys game. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joins us now. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, will be along at 5:30. It was just an ugly game, RJ, and I'm trying to make sense out of what we saw, but I was at that game. The Cowboys weren't near as physical. They didn't tackle well. Nothing went their way, including blocking a punt that ended up as a first down for the Broncos. It was just ugly in every aspect of how do you explain a loss like that?
I think, I wouldn't have been able to explain it if I had never played a round of golf with Jason Minix, because sometimes you just got to get through the ugly. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just, just go until it's over. Just bleed it till it's dry. And that's what it was. I don't want to play revisionist and say, it felt off from the beginning, but it kind of did when you look back on it. Dak was under pressure, not getting the fourth down didn't bode well. I support the decision. I know you and your negative Nancy self are probably like, no, you take the field goals and whatnot. But I mean, it's just sometimes you're off. Sometimes you're off. And I think the Cowboys thought they could just kind of sit and chill on cruise control. I think the win against the Vikings softens the blow from this because you already won one. You weren't supposed to, so you've kind of come out even in these games. But it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call that you don't win Super Bowls in October.
It really is. And again, if you want to go sort of glass half full, if you will, the fact that it's an AFC team, it's not as costly of a loss as if it were to an NFC team or to an NFC East team. And it does feel like, to steal a line from Jeff Traylor in UTSA, the Cowboys have been eating all the cheese, and they paid for it in the form of the Denver Broncos. But I did find it interesting that a number of players said after the game yesterday that they needed that kind of a wake-up call. Mike McCarthy said today, that's BS.
Oh, no, I don't believe in that at all. No, we didn't need that. I know I didn't need it. We didn't need that. We've been playing good football. So I understand the feeling of it. But there's other ways to get attention and refocus. And that's definitely not my preference.
But it happened. So you look at the game yesterday from the start, 0 for 3 on fourth down conversions. And again, at some point, especially early, do you take the 3? Do you punt? I mean, you believe in your team. But I got to say, Terrence Steele, as well as that kid has played at right tackle, he was a turnstile at left tackle. I mean, you go back and watch the film, and where our seats are at the Cowboys game is the end zone. So it's like the all-22. I will say this about Terrence Steele. He is the nicest guy because every time he gives up a sack, he is the first one there to help the quarterback up. I wonder what he says to Dak. Oops, sorry, again.
I bet you it's some version of, that's my B, or that one's on me, and Dak's thinking like, I know, you know what I mean? But, after every Cowboys game, I write winners and losers. This particular game was 1 winner and 9 losers. And I did not have Terrence Steele listed. And I know that kind of surprises a lot of people, but when you qualify what's a winner, what's a loser, I think context is there. I think expectation is there. And I think we all kind of thought this might not go well. You're flipping this guy, from the right side to the left side, the more difficult side. Mike McCarthy spoke about his time in Green Bay and how one of his offensive linemen there put the change as, wiping yourself with the other hand. And I don't mean like your mouth after you eat dinner, which is a difficult proposition as anybody can certainly imagine. And so, they asked an enormous amount of a second-year undrafted free agent, and it blew up in their face. You know what I mean? And so what other result did you expect? I think that, as far as whether they needed it or not, I think that's something that's nice to say today. And you're right. It was certainly the least consequential sort of loss, and that it's an AFC team. It also worked out for the Cowboys that the Green Bay Packers lost. It also worked out for them that the Los Angeles Rams lost. It didn't work out that the Arizona Cardinals won, but fortunately they didn't lose a ton of pace. It would have been nice, obviously, if you're playing, hindsight person to get a win when the Packers and Rams lost. But, you didn't lose an enormous amount of pace with the other teams that are competing in the NFC.
No, in fact, as we visit with RJ Ochoa from logintheboys.com, it was just a weird Sunday. It's to an AFC team, and all the quote-unquote contenders, not named Arizona, lost yesterday. I mean, it was just a weird day in the NFL. In fact, one of the segments this morning on ESPN, what was the bigger surprise? The Cowboys getting their butts kicked by the Broncos or Jacksonville beating Buffalo? And Jacksonville beating Buffalo was the biggest surprise. But you look around, it was just a strange day in the NFL, and the Cowboys were a part of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of, for narrative, wanted that to be a week ago and be like, ooh, Halloween, it was spooky in the air, and all these big teams lost. But, the Cowboys sometimes do not play well. You would know this because you've been to a lot of them with how it works out with your travel schedule. They don't typically play all too well in that noon slot. And, you would have thought that this would have been a little bit more advantageous to them given that they had the extra hour of sleep, just like everybody involved. I know you love daylight savings time coming to an end, Jason, but I mean,
hate it.
It's hard. I mean, and I think, in thinking about the last loss like this, because I don't put any from last year in this kind of box. Last year they all go in this weird, everything was terrible box. So when you're managing the brutality of the loss relative to the expectation and the quality of the team, I think the last one that really felt like this might have been Chicago on the Thursday night after Thanksgiving 2 years ago. And you'll recall that right after, like in the moments after, I believe it was Jane Slater reported that the Cowboys had some interest in Urban Meyer as a future head coach, and all that fun started. I believe, actually, we even did an emergency Friday morning of the Blitz there in San Antonio just because we thought Jason Garrett might be getting fired. So that was
you're right. Time. And I think one of the things there, though, it was also 9 degrees that day in Chicago. I mean, it was brutal. And yesterday, it felt like the Cowboys were playing like it was 9 degrees. There was no energy in that building early. There was a lot of orange, but if you've ever been to AT&T Stadium, you realize a lot of fans from the visiting team show up. It's a destination type game. So every fan base will talk about how they took over the stadium and all that kind of stuff. If you go every week, you realize that happens every week. A lot of Cowboy fans make a lot of money selling tickets to the opposing team because they travel in for it. But it did that it lacked energy early, and then the Broncos took all the energy away. Nobody played well. Dak looked off target. He looked rushed. He looked a little rusty. But then you had even like Amari Cooper had his first drop of the year on a crucial third down play.
Amari had the drops. CeeDee's had a case of the drops this year. Tony Pollard had a big-time drop. I mean, you're right. Like, sometimes you can't win for losing, and that's just kind of how it goes, some days. And like we've all watched games like that. We've all watched seasons like that. Your Longhorns are certainly in a quarter century like that. But, where nothing can go your way.
Kingsbury.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate you.
It's a game played with an oblong ball made out of leather. So sometimes the pump block is kind of an example of that, where like you just can't get out of your own way. You can't even buy a break. And that's really what it felt like. And you said nobody played well. I would only combat that with I mentioned winners and losers. I had one winner, and it was Micah Parsons. He was the only person that looked like he really kind of gave it his all. He was fantastic in this game, and so. That's tough. And that was nice given, it was unfortunate that Patrick Surtain got hurt. You really wanted to see him and kind of measure Mike up against him. Granted, they don't play each other since that was the player the Cowboys really wanted. But Micah played well, and that's a nice, it makes the landing a little bit softer. It's a throw the game away and hope that it's the one aberration, the one outlier. But because these are the Cowboys, we've all been hurt too many times to the point that we're all wondering, is this the first pull of the thread? Is this the beginning? Was everything before this a mirage? And is the bottom starting to come out? That's I think, insecurity that's being tugged at right now.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz. And RJ, to piggyback on that last comment, I am not worried about the Cowboys offense finding their rhythm. I mean, you figure Dak has been off for a couple of weeks. He was under a little bit more pressure than he normally is, off target, rushing throws, and then you got receivers with the drops. But I am concerned about the defense, and we have talked about that a couple of times throughout this season, that they've been living and dying by the turnovers. And because of the takeaways, they've masked a lot of the pimples on that defense. Yesterday, Denver ran all over them. Their run defense wasn't good yesterday. They didn't tackle they didn't tackle well at all. And in the passing game, I mean, Bridgewater looked like a Pro Bowler, and mainly because Diggs is going to gamble. And when Diggs gambles and gets an interception, we love it. When he gambles and doesn't get the interception, he's going to give up the big play. And you've just got to live with that as a Cowboy fan. But I am worried about this defense.
Yeah, they've been very opportunistic to your point. This is a reference that I know you'll totally get, but it's kind of like the old school Super Smash Brothers. The Cowboys defense is Kirby. Like they got one move. That's all they can really do, and that move is the turnovers. And if they don't get it, they're just a normal, average team. And it's not even just the turnovers, it's the big plays, the big tackles for losses, the sacks. And they got that early on, but when none of that's working, I mean, they're just average. And maybe average is enough, like we've said a lot of times, right? Like if this defense can just be average, but average is definitely not enough when your offense is doing absolutely nothing. I don't want to be the I'm lining up with my pitchforks, but I was bummed that the offense scored. I wanted them to get shut out. I wanted that shame to hang over them for a week. And so, I hate that it inflates things and makes it look like, well, it was just not. You got shut out as far as I'm concerned. You got skunked by the Denver Broncos. And so I put an enormous amount of blame on the defense. Out of curiosity, is
Denver your fantasy football team defense?
It's not.
Okay.
Actually, it is the Cowboys. So I'm particularly bitter. But I mean, again, I'm not at all caping for or going to bat for the defense. They were awful, but the Cowboys had a time of possession of 18 minutes. I mean, in an NFL game, that's not enough. And so, they really hung their average defense out to dry on a day that they played average. And so the recipe there is just not a good one.
RJ Ochoa, bloggingtheboys.com. If you're going to lose, do it ugly. And they certainly did. You mentioned time of possession. Only 14 first downs in the game. They were surprisingly 5 of 13 on third downs, 0 of 4 on fourth down, only 290 yards of total offense for this high-octane Cowboys offense. Now, obviously, and Vic Fangio talked about it afterwards, copycat league. They've set the blueprint. It's such total BS. The Cowboys had a bad game, and as we sit here and talk about it, and it's been a long time since I was this mad after a Cowboy game, this angry. I mean, I was mad when I got home last night. I was mad when I woke up this morning. I'm still kind of surly about the way the Cowboys just flat out got their butts kicked, right? Mike McCarthy knew this was going to happen. I mean, Pledge, if you can find the audio from Friday, I think it was Friday, maybe Thursday, where Mike McCarthy was talking about the home field advantage at Texas Stadium and how he likes the noon game and all of that. Hindsight being 2020, I think Mike McCarthy was afraid of this game and that early start time because this is a group that's normally in the 3 o'clock window or in prime time and against an opponent that he can get them fired up for. Hard to get fired up for the Denver Broncos.
You know, I think a lot of people might say, Jason, you're stupid. That makes no sense at all. But I'm here to defend you. That's what I do. And Mike McCarthy is a head coach. You know, I remember one of the first things he said when the schedule came out was how they didn't play games on consecutive Sundays until like weeks 4 and 5. He's a guy who looks for the intricacies like that. And you're right, the noon slot is not necessarily kind to the Cowboys because, to your point, they're generally used to playing on these bigger stages, these later games, these afternoons, these nights, etc. Now, you would have thought that the magnificent 1976 bicentennial red stripe would have been enough hype to get them ready for this game, but it turns out it wasn't. And you want to know what, Jason? As soon as it was like confirmed in my mind this was going to be a loss in the third quarter, the first thing I thought was, damn, everyone's going to say the red stripe is cursed, and they're never going to wear it again. I was so upset.
You might be right about that, but James Pledger, our crack producer, this was Mike McCarthy talking about the home field advantage. Mind you, there was a lot of orange in that building, and there's always a lot of whatever the other team's color is in the building. This was Mike McCarthy on Friday.
Well, a number of things. It's an incredible environment. Obviously, our players are extremely comfortable there, and the way you should be with your home field advantage. But it's definitely an emphasis. It's something that we did not accomplish last year, so that was duly noted in training camp. So we're off to a really good start. We had the 3-game sweep earlier. We got a 2-game homestand here, so it's definitely a focal point. I mean, the old saying in the NFL, win all your home games, split on the road is obviously a pretty favorable position to be when tournament time comes around. So we talk about it. The week of the home game, we emphasize it. So we're looking for great crowds. Noon games are always fun. I think players and coaches really enjoy the noon games as you get up and get going, and then you get the victory and you have time with your family. So, I love the environment. The first 3 games starting off with the Philadelphia game, the Monday night environment was incredible. So, nothing like AT&T Stadium.
I hear that now. Think back, and a lot of times with McCarthy, you hear it one day, and then after the game is played, you realize what he really meant. He was scared to death about this. I mean, the only thing anybody had positive going on yesterday after that noon game that plays for the Dallas Cowboys is Micah Parsons, because he got to go home and cuddle with his new puppy. Everybody else went home in a very bad mood.
It's just, and again, you've been to a lot of them. Like, it's a different vibe at AT&T Stadium at noon, and it's certainly different from where Mike McCarthy has coached most of his career. I think you would support this, Jason. Lambeau Field, a noon game, has a very college-like atmosphere because of the environment, because of the way it is, the part of the country, et cetera. It's not like that. AT&T Stadium is, it's a theater, right? It's a theater. And so you don't show up to the theater for the matinee. You show up at night, when you want to get all loosey-goosey and have yourself a nice dinner right before. And so that isn't the case for this particular venue.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com here on the Blitz. You mentioned the red stripe, and it turns out that was probably the best part of the game. The red stripe, the pregame ceremony with the flag, halftime with all the Medal of Honor winners, Lee Greenberg out there, and check out the new shirt.
I'm really jealous. It's a great look. I wish they did it once a year. Certainly around this time of year, obviously fantastic to have Lee Greenwood in the building. It looked sharp, looked awesome. Just it's a shame that, like I said, people are going to say, you know what, it's cursed. Don't ever do it again, blah, blah, blah. It looked good. Bring it back every year as far as I'm concerned.
I like the look with the red stripe. It is America's team, red, white, and blue. Go for it. And now you get to refocus. Mike McCarthy's got a lot to bitch about this week as they get ready for the Atlanta Falcons. Another home game, another noon start.
You know what, though? We ran a study ourselves at Blogging the Boys this week. I wrote about it. Should be out sometime tomorrow. In games following double-digit point losses in Mike McCarthy's career. Now, to be fair, we did exclude the 2006 season when his first year as the head coach of the Packers. It's first year. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting your bearings. Okay. And we excluded last year for obvious reasons. So from 2007 through 2018, games following double-digit point losses for Mike McCarthy, the majority, the largest percentage of time, 31% of the time, his teams win by 14 or more points. So generally speaking, more often than anything else, Mike McCarthy rebounds with a big-time win after getting embarrassed like this. And so the Atlanta Falcons are a team that, you know, kind of sets up for that. You know, you kind of hope that this is a get-right game. This is a go dunk on them. Everybody score. Everybody get your 100 yards and your touchdown and whatever. Because after next week, Jason, as you well know, the gauntlet starts. You got to go to Kansas City. And then quickly after that, you got to turn around and play the Raiders on Thanksgiving, Rich Bisaccia, and all the emotion that's involved there. And then 7 days later, you got to go to New Orleans and you got to play Trevor Siemian, who, you know, who knows how that goes and whatnot. But is it still the gauntlet that we thought it was going to be when the schedule came out, or even August when you look at how well Kansas City is not playing, and you look at the Raiders who just lost to the damn New York Giants without Saquon Barkley, and you mentioned Trevor Siemian. I mean, honestly, the gauntlet isn't what it was. There's still going to be scary games, but not what we were thinking. And again, a loss like this to Denver might be the wake-up call that they needed. I would only say it's a gauntlet in the same sense, maybe this is your point, that this game was difficult. The noon game, right? The noon game at home, those are 3 games in a highly compressed amount of time. And so that is a difficult proposition, no matter who the opponents are. 2 of those games are on the road. The turnaround, you know, the only home game is maybe against the best of those 3 teams, right? Between the Raiders, Chiefs, and the Saints. Very excited to see the Raiders and Chiefs play this week on Sunday Night Football. But it's tough. It's a tall order, and you're right. It doesn't look as scary as it did back in April or May. But it's definitely going to be tough, and it's definitely going to be something you have to survive, because your prize after that, and in this case it actually is a prize, is you get 4 out of your final 5 games against the aforementioned NFC East.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. He creates studies where the math works in his favor. I'm curious what the numbers were if you'd have kept both of those years in there. But, hey, why ruin a good story? And, again, as you talk about spinning numbers, can you make sense of what Houston Texans head coach David Culley had to say today?
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times. It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. It's a formula that's been in this league, in all leagues, that when you play that way, you have no chance to win.
So if the other team has 5 turnovers, but you have 4, you lose no matter what. Like the formula, the chart must say, if you've got 4, you better fumble it away to get to 5, because you cannot win if you've got 4. Even if you win the turnover margin by 1, like they did, if you have 4 turnovers, regardless of how many the Miami Dolphins had, you're not allowed to win.
You know, David Culley seems like a sweet man. I would love to go to, you know, Magnolia with him there in San Antonio, have some great pancakes. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
a great
sir.
brunch. You know, I think we'd have a great time. You could tell me some stories and things like that. But, you know,
that's a whole lot to say for a man that's at a loss for words to explain that.
Right. But whether the game is in Miami, in Houston, at Comalander, or Hero Stadium, I don't want David Culley patrolling my sidelines on behalf of my team.
It's almost like blocking a punt and the other team ends up with a first down. Some things just don't make sense.
It's just the way it goes sometimes, you know. It is what it is. Hey, but imagine being an Astros fan, a Manchester United fan, and a Dallas Cowboys fan this past week. Things are going great for me.
Add in the Spurs blowing a double-digit loss and a Longhorn fan. Welcome to my world. I guess Manchester lost.
You know what their name is, Jason. Let's just, and you know what I'm talking about with Super Smash Brothers too. You were a Kirby person. Don't lie.
That is RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. Always appreciate the insight, even if I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, that's generally how we roll. A happy early Veterans Day to you, Jason, and to all who served our great country. Glad you got that shirt. You deserve it. And pledge, the sign is straight today. Congratulations.
We've spent hours on that. RJ Ochoa, make sure you're following him on Twitter and reading all his great stuff at bloggingtheboys.com. We'll talk more about that Cowboys loss with the Moose. Daryl Johnston will join us coming up next here on the Blitz. You know, if you're having any issues at the house with your plumbing, your heater, your AC, you know there's one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. 210-651-5899. 651-5899 is the phone number. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. No commission. Sales reps, they'll provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. If you haven't had your heater tuned up yet, make sure you get that done before it really gets cold. They've got great maintenance programs that ensures your unit is ready for every season. Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com. Mondays with the Moose, the three-time Super Bowl champion, will join us after James Pleasure gives us a Sports Center update.
Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll start in college football, where Texas Tech has a brand new head coach, as they announced today that Baylor associate Joey McGuire will be the next head football coach of the Red Raiders. McGuire's in his 5th season at Baylor and his 3rd as the team's associate coach. He's also coached tight ends, defensive ends, and inside linebackers for the Bears. He's a longtime successful Texas high school coaching legend as he led Cedar Hill to 3 straight championships, 12 consecutive playoff appearances, and a 141-42 record. He was actually inducted into the Texas High School Coaches Association Hall of Honor this past season. Taking a look in the NBA, the Spurs fell to 3-7 on the year after they dropped their game with the Oklahoma City Thunder 99-94 last night. Keldon Johnson led the way with 22 points in the loss. They'll return to action on Wednesday when they take on the Sacramento Kings. In Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros extended qualifying offers to starting pitcher Justin Verlander and shortstop Carlos Correa for $18.4 million, meaning they will receive draft compensation if they were to leave in free agency. SportsCenter is brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners. I'm James Pledger.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Score points with some of the boldest, keto-friendly, protein-packed, and low-carb snacks out there. And with their new Southern Recipe Small Batch 6-bag variety pack, you'll get to choose a different flavored pork rind every time. Find Southern Recipe Small Batch at your local H-E-B, and you'll always have pork rinds ready to go. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Southern Recipe Pork Rinds.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at exergen.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
You love Zoom for video meetings? Now, choose Zoom to power your phone communications too. Zoom Phone works seamlessly within the Zoom app as your business phone system. Zoom Phone's secure HD audio and enterprise-grade reliability keep you connected to your teams and your customers. And it's easy to use on mobile, desktop, or desk phone. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Zoom, how the world connects.
According to NHTSA, one person is injured in a car accident every 2 minutes in Texas, and a new crash is reported every 56 seconds. If you were injured in a car crash, call Thomas J. Henry. Thomas J. Henry handles serious auto accident cases and gets serious results for injured clients. To learn more or start your claim today, visit tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Blake Stevens with San Antonio-based GPS of Texas. If you have commercial vehicles on the road, you're a target for personal injury lawyers. I mean, you're wearing a bullseye. Our system can protect you if there is an accident with proof of speed, video monitoring, even proof that your driver wasn't on his phone. Don't get hammered. Have real proof that you weren't at fault by installing our GPS camera tracking system. Call GPS of Texas at 210-587-7634 or gpsoftexas.com.
O'Reilly! Don't miss See Better Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase a pair of select wiper blades. Our professional parts people will even install them for free. Plus, earn triple O Rewards points. Get ready for the weather ahead during See Better Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Second it takes. The Blitz with Jason Minix and Sports Insiders. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We got beat. We got thumped in every aspect of the game, especially on offense. Didn't get it going. I mean, we scored a couple of touchdowns there in late time, but I mean, never got going. I missed some throws. We didn't throw and catch the ball as we normally do, and wasn't our best performance by any means. Obviously, our worst of the year, and credit to those guys. I mean, it's the NFL. Those guys get paid to do this and play at a high level, and they came in here and were more prepared for this game and did a great job, did better than we did, and just beat us, plain and simple.
They beat them plain and simple. That is Dak Prescott following yesterday's loss to the Denver Broncos. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Time for Mondays with the Moose, now joined by three-time Super Bowl champion and analyst with Fox Sports, Daryl Johnston, joining us now. And Daryl, you see the Cowboys yesterday just completely lay an egg. How do you explain what you saw yesterday from the Cowboys?
You just had one of those games, and I don't think we should take anything away from the Denver Broncos either.
Sure.
You know, from a record standpoint, I think people would look at them and still feel that Dallas, should have handled their business, which they should have. But when a game like that happens, we had one happen in one of our Super Bowl years. I think we were 8-1 and we got beat by the Rams that were 2-7 at the time. And, sometimes you just come out and you can't find a way to do anything right. You don't look like the team that had been playing the last few weeks. And there's really no explanation for it. And that's the big thing. Don't try to explain this. Figure out, as a player and coaching staff, you want to take a look at the film and, try to find out the why in some of it, but you don't want to waste too much time on it because that was uncharacteristic. But I do, when you watch the film of the game, you can't take anything away from how the Broncos played on both sides of the football. So, they seem like they didn't come out, they didn't match them from an emotional standpoint, from an urgency standpoint, from a physical standpoint. And then all of a sudden that hole gets deep and things just start to snowball.
You know, Daryl, I was at the game yesterday, and one of the things I noticed, you mentioned the energy level. The Cowboys did look flat, and I don't know if that's part of the noon start and whatnot, but also Denver was the more physical team on both sides. I mean, you know, defensively, they were manhandling the offensive line. The move to left tackle for Terrence Steele didn't prove to be a good one. I don't know if that's something that was just a one game. He was in a different spot and, you know, just had an off day. But I think it starts there. Denver was the more physical team, and they certainly had a lot more energy. And, you know, as an NFL player, how does that happen as a group? It's one thing if one guy's off, but it seemed like everybody was off.
Yeah, it really did. I think the big thing is, you know, the fourth down stops, you know, early in that game. I mean, it couldn't have started any better. I mean, you get a big kickoff return, you're on the plus side of the field, you move down, you're in position to extend the drive. And, you know, the fourth down conversions hurt them early in the game, you know, failing in those, giving life back to the Broncos, getting them, you know, up from an emotional standpoint. But, you know, I think when you look at Terrence Steele, and this is something I remember, you know, some of our guys talking about it. You know, Eric Williams started as a left tackle and moved to right tackle. Larry Allen sometimes played left and right tackle before he kind of settled in at guard. And it is very different. I mean, you're talking about your opposite foot back is your kick foot. You know, everything you do is the opposite if you move from right tackle to left tackle. So it's not as easy a flip to switch as a lot of people would think. So, you know, I'll give him a little bit of a break, but that's something as a play caller and as running backs and tight ends, you know, you've got to account for if you've got one of your edge guys struggling a little bit. So, but the big thing for me was, you know, watching, you know, that defense that had played so well all season long, you know, whether it was Trayvon Diggs, you know, having a tough afternoon, the amount of yards they gave up to Williams after contact. You know, it was just the speed was there. You know, there was quickness, but there was just something missing on the defensive side of the ball as well. And I really can't put my finger on that one yet.
That's the interesting part. And again, I'm not overly worried about the offense. You could chalk that up to a bad day. Dak was off target. I don't know if it was rust from being off for a couple of weeks. Amari Cooper had his first drop, but the defense is my one concern. And we've talked about this, Daryl. If they don't get the turnovers, how good of a defense are they? And their run defense, their tackling was awful yesterday.
It really was. It really was. And that's, you know, the first time you've seen that. There was people around the ball, but nobody was tackling well. The one interception they did get, you know, was at a meaningless point in the game. So that didn't have an impact. It wasn't able to breathe any life into the team. So I think when Dan Quinn looks at this game, you know, he'll be able to see a few good things and build on those. But I think the biggest thing is the tackling component, and that is something that he won't be happy with. And you know, whether it's the Cleveland Browns, I've seen their running game, you know, really make defenses struggle to tackle the ball carriers. You know, I'd seen a little bit of Denver watching other teams, you know, getting ready for my games when there was a little bit of a crossover, and you could see they had that ability with their running backs. But still, this Dallas defense had played well during the course of the first half of the season, and that was a big step back. And you know, the biggest thing, this is a response-driven league. So as ugly as everything was on Sunday, and we've talked about this a couple of times, whether it was the Chargers win or the Patriots win, you know, we've talked about those games where the Cowboys found a way, you know, to come back and win those games. You know, this is now the next step. You know, how do you respond after a really bad performance out there? So I'm interested to see what they do this Sunday.
And again, they've got Atlanta on deck this Sunday. So, and again, I mean, they're coming off a win over New Orleans yesterday in a pretty crazy game. So, you know, it won't be as easy as I think a lot of Cowboy fans thought it was looking at this stretch, because I think most of us, including myself, thought Denver would end up being an easy win because this team should be able to score 30 points a game every game. And quite frankly, they were shut out yesterday. They got a couple of touchdowns late to make it look more respectable. But in reality, that was not a good performance from the Cowboys offense all the way down. I know Kellen Moore's got to look at some things, and Vic Fangio said afterwards they've kind of set the blueprint now on how to beat the Cowboys. How much stock do you put in a statement like that, or with what you saw yesterday? Is there that blueprint now available for teams, and how do the Cowboys adjust to that?
No, I'm not a big blueprint guy. I think that was more bad Cowboys football than great Denver football. That we started this with saying let's not take anything away from the Denver Broncos performance, but let's not add anything to it. Vic Fangio is a very, very good defensive mind. Brandon Staley, who's now the head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers, worked underneath Vic Fangio. He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams last year when they had the #1 defense in the league. What they do is they try to frustrate you. It's not a bend but don't break philosophy. It's more what they like to say is we're going to force you to snap the ball one more time. We're not giving up anything cheap and anything big over the top. We're going to test your patience. We're going to make you execute for 10, 12, 14 plays. And we think that you're going to make a mistake in that time, and then we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And they wait for their moments. They're very opportunistic. That is what's kind of coming back into the NFL, is more of these, cover 4, cover 2, umbrella style zone coverages, as opposed to, some more of the heavy pressure styles, the single high safety style. We're not seeing teams commit to the run as wholeheartedly. So there's really no reason to be in, the single high safety, adding that extra guy down into the box area. Some people have found it beneficial because of all the crossing routes, but I think that this is just an adjustment as we see the league ebb and flow from season to season, year to year. And this is just one of those shifts that happens every 3, 5, 8 years, where a new style of defense, which is really kind of brought back from the old days, kind of resurfaces again and kind of is what everybody goes to slow down these fast-paced offenses. So, from Vic Fangio's standpoint, when he says we've put a blueprint out there, the blueprint would be, which every defense says before the game, nothing cheap over the top, make them earn everything. We're going to cover every blade of grass. There's a lot of cliche out there. So I wouldn't, for Cowboy fans, don't get too worried about Coach Fangio's comment. There is no blueprint. That was more bad Dallas Cowboy offense than it was fantastic, great, outstanding, brand new style of defense that Vic Fangio put out there that every team was going to be looking to run against Dallas.
That is Daryl Johnston, the Moose, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Cowboys, now an analyst with Fox Sports, as he joins us every week here on the Blitz for Mondays with the Moose. And sometimes you just chalk it up to it's not your day. And when you block a punt and the team that's punting the ball ends up with a first down, you realize it just ain't your day.
Yeah. And that's kind of a fast-paced Leon Lett experience right there. I mean, I think everybody goes back to the Thanksgiving Day game. When the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage, it's just like it was punted, and that ball cannot become live until somebody on the block team, touches it. So just because that was such a kind of a bang bang play and it's bouncing around, the opportunity for it to hit one of the Dallas players, and that's knowing that rule, that once I touch that ball as the block team beyond the line of scrimmage, it's become live again. So you've got to get on top of that. You've got to cover that. So, but it was such an odd, we're taught the scenario that happened to Leon on Thanksgiving in the snow against Miami, because there's a little bit more control there. That's a little bit more, customary, where you could, because it's slowed down, you're overthinking it. But that one just happened so quickly and with such an unusual circumstance that very, very odd. And just, as you pointed out, kind of really summed up the whole afternoon for the Dallas Cowboys.
Daryl, is that a rule that, like, special teams guys practice on a regular basis, or is that one of those that you go over it once or twice during training camp and it's so rare that you don't spend a lot of time on it, or is that just one of those dumb rules that need to be fixed?
No, I think that one doesn't need to be fixed. The one that needs to be fixed is the one that happened to Miami against Buffalo, where a guy muffs a punt, and then you have the impetus of the kick is actually what carried it into the end zone. It wasn't the muff itself. And so instead of the Dolphins being awarded a safety because they tackled the Bills player in the end zone with the ball, it ends up being a touchback and they get the ball at the 20-yard line. That's a rule that needs to be fixed because to me, it's not penalizing a team for making a mistake. If you muff a punt and it goes into the end zone, you should not be given a lifeline in that situation. The one that happened to Dallas yesterday is just one of those things that happens in a game. And you talk about that scenario more than just a couple of times during training camp. Okay. It's something that we would go over during special teams on a regular basis, but it happened just so differently than the way you prepare for it. It was so quick and it was so down into the mix where all the players were. Usually that ball, if it's partially blocked and it comes beyond the line of scrimmage, it's reacting in a completely different way than that football was. So I just think you gotta kind of chalk that one up to a very unique situation with a rule that the guys knew, but probably couldn't process as quickly as they needed to.
If I was the rule czar, I would make it to where at the very least, if the Cowboy player touches it, the Bronco guy gets it, he would at least have to run for a first down. It just feels like you penalize the team for a great special teams play and just weirdness. And, but it was just one of those kind of days. And I know, Daryl, you had the Miami-Houston game yesterday, right?
Yes.
Can you explain what David Coley tried to explain? Can you I don't know if you heard these comments from Coach Coley today trying to explain what happened yesterday.
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times. It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. It's a formula that's been in this league, in all leagues, that when you play that way, you have no chance to win.
So if you win the turnover battle, but you have 4, you can't win. I'm not sure what David Coley's trying to say there. And I like David Coley, but come on.
Yeah. No. We've had him the last couple of weeks, and it's the first time I've had the opportunity to visit with Coach Coley, and I've really enjoyed it. I just think he's probably talking the volume and not realizing, really what it boils down to is you were still +1, and +1 is a good position to be in the turnover battle. But I think, for him, and this is something that he's talked about during the course of the season, the inability to make plays. And I think when you turn the ball over 4 times, that's kind of a demonstration of our inability to make plays. And it was very uncharacteristic. I mean, going into the game, for Tyrod Taylor against the Miami Dolphins, he had thrown 10 touchdowns without any interceptions. And he had 3 in the first half, I think, in the game yesterday. So just a very unusual day for Tyrod Taylor. And this is David Coley coming off of a performance the week before against the Rams, where I think he was completely surprised by how poorly his team played in that game, because they were down 38-0 at one point. And he did not anticipate that kind of a score to happen in that game, because he felt like they had prepared really well during the week. And you get that feeling. I've had that before, where you get a feeling of how a game is going to go, and it doesn't go anything like that. And then for them to follow it up with a game in which they were just very, very self-destructive, not only not able to make plays to win the game, but actually having plays that are going against that opportunity and just handing the game to the Miami Dolphins. So, I think it was the volume of the turnovers they had that kind of got them off track a little bit.
Yeah, just a weird day in the NFL, from the Cowboys losing to Jacksonville beating Buffalo, the Rams as poorly as they looked last night to Tennessee. It was just a strange day all the way around in the NFL. Hopefully this week you've got a much better matchup. Who do you got? Where are you going this weekend?
We are going up to Pittsburgh for Detroit at Pittsburgh. So interested to see, again, we talked about Dallas and the response after a poor performance against Denver. I'm interested to see how Detroit responds after their bye week. To have to sit on that loss that they had to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was probably the second time this year that Philadelphia has put up a score that when you're at the stadium, you're doing the games, and the out-of-town scores are coming across, and it's very, very shocking. The week 1 score against Atlanta, they went down to Atlanta and roughed up Atlanta. But the one against Detroit, Detroit had been in virtually every game. Cincinnati was the one team that kind of roughed them up a little bit. But when that score came across, I was shocked. I mean, there was a lot of conversation within the organization for Detroit that this could be our chance for our first victory this year. And they were never in that game. So I'm interested to see how they respond, because it's two of the really bad losses have come over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And you just wonder if they expended so much emotional energy in those heartbreaking losses to start the season, how much fuel is left in that emotional tank to finish this year out.
Yeah, hopefully you have a good call. I guess you're going to be paying close attention to Monday Night Football tonight with the Steelers and Bears. Always enjoy the visit. Daryl Johnston, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys, now with Fox Sports. Mondays with the Moose. Daryl will visit next week. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Jason. Take care.
Daryl Johnston, Mondays with the Moose. Trying to explain the unexplainable. And it was a weird day in the NFL. We'll talk about that coming up. And Jeff Traylor from the UTSA Roadrunners, he will join us in about 10 minutes. Injuries do happen. So if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason for you to be in pain. If you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at tsaog.com, or you can schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490. 804-5490 for TSAOG Orthopedics.
The Dallas Cowboys, the Atlanta Falcons. This one will be a pad pounder. Get the call live Sunday at noon. Sponsored by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The Camera Exchange is having their biggest sales event of the year, the 2021 Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange will pay sales taxes on all Canon purchases, including the Canon R5, Canon R6, Canon T8i, and the Canon RF 50mm 1.2. Everyone will get a gift card at the door worth up to $200 and prizes every day. The Camera Exchange Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange, 1 mile inside Loop 410 on San Pedro, online at camerax.com.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain. Whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes, it's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year, the one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire line, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
The annual San Antonio Auto and Truck Show is November 12th through the 14th. We're partnering with some of SA's favorite pet organizations for the Subaru Loves Pets initiative. With on-site pet adoptions, you can see new cars and trucks and take home a furry friend that just might like to ride in one. Get your tickets now.
When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. If you're having to rework your office, let Hill Electric design your socially distanced space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. For over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. There is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074, or go to hill-electric.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
We've got your free tickets to see every Dallas Cowboys home game all season long. Register to win now at sasportstar.com. Cheer on America's team on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm your home for Dallas Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. You're playing the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge at sasportstar.com. You had a good week. Congratulations. Not many of us did. Winner will get a $50 gift card to Pinkerton's Barbecue and a Mellow Mushroom. I haven't even checked yet, but I kind of know it wasn't a good week, but it wasn't a good week for everybody. It was a strange day in the NFL. I mean, it was. And you look at the Cowboys game, now, they get beat. And Vic Fangio, oh, yeah, man, I've laid the blueprint for the NFL. All my friends need to send me a gift. Mike McCarthy said, here's half a piece, signed Vic.
Oh, this is a copycat league. I just told the team this, so get ready. I hope they do too. Vic played us very aggressive, so that's good to hear him beating his own drum.
Love that. There you go, Mike. Did you hear it?
So that's good to hear him beating his own drum.
There you go.
Their linebacker depth. I mean, they had their linebackers at 3 yards. And
yeah, you know what? The Denver's defense took it to the Cowboys. But as Daryl Johnston just told us, it's not like it was some world beater defense that nobody had ever seen before. I think more of it was Dak was off. I'm more concerned about this Cowboys defense. They've got Atlanta this week. And that hopefully is very personal for Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, who's probably got more issues than most of us think, and they were certainly magnified yesterday. But playing against his old team, yeah, he's got to keep things in check.
Well, I think, I have great memories for there, and I always will. And I think a lot of the really cool and things that we accomplished there, and there were a lot of them, versus how it ended. And I think that's an important declaration. I'll certainly be forever grateful to Arthur to, give me the opportunity there, and to all the players I had the privilege to coach. But you guys saw the performance yesterday, so there's no time to, take a stroll down memory lane. Like, we got some to fix. So, I'll be right where my feet are, right where I'm supposed to be, going after it as hard as we can, worrying about the jerseys that I coach now, and we'll throw a hell of a week.
Yeah, they got some stuff they've got to fix. Tackling. Imagine they'll spend some time working on tackling. I imagine run defense is going to be a priority. I mean, Micah Parsons is really the only guy that played well yesterday. And as he said after the game, he got a new puppy. He was going to go home and cuddle. He's probably the only guy that went home happy after that early game. Now, I know a guy that got home late Saturday night, or I should say early Sunday morning happy, and that is Jeff Traylor of the undefeated UTSA Roadrunners. Coach Traylor joins us next here on The Blitz. Nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, the best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option is AA Best Bail Bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential, and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. If you're down in the Valley, down in Corpus area, up in Dallas, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
San Antonio Sports Star Pro Football Pick'em. Online at sasportstar.com. Can you pick the perfect matchups all season long? If so, you could win $50,000. Weekly winners score gift cards to Pinkerton's Barbecue and the Mellow Mushroom. For official contest rules and to play, visit sasportstar.com. Must be at least 21 years old to play this nationwide contest. One winner will be selected at the end of the season. The Pro Football Challenge from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all, FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain. Whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at exergen.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
Joel, I love the hunting season.
What's with the outfit, Nigel?
Oh, yes. This is my hunting attire, complete with my bright red jacket, hunting horn. I am the master of the foxhounds.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. I love the tradition of hunting as the hounds chase the fox.
Whoa, Nigel. Hunting is a little different here in Texas.
And like hunting, plumbing, heating, and air conditioner repairs are all about preparation, skill, and having the right equipment.
That's true. And all our quarter moon technicians with a fleet of fully stocked trucks know what to do when plumbing, heat, and AC issues pop up out of nowhere. Nigel, where'd you go?
Joel, can you give me a hand? I can't get my horse down from the deer blind.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. From the outhouse to the penthouse, calls day or night, 651-5899.
License number M13229, TACLA 000743445E.
Tally-ho!
It's that time of year again when Smoky Mo's Barbecue is gearing up to smoke Thanksgiving turkeys for our neighbors in the San Antonio area. Each turkey will be made using our secret rub and smoked to perfection in-house. You can buy it solo or with our feast that includes sweet potato casserole, cornbread dressing, green bean casserole, and a delicious pumpkin pie from Tootie Pies. Pre-order at SmokyMo'sBarbecue.com or by calling your store. Don't dawdle. We sell out every year. Happy Smoked Turkey Day, y'all, from Smoky Mo's Barbecue.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KCDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon or evening now. It's dark outside with the time change, 6 o'clock, and it's just pitch dark as I look outside my kitchen window. Boy, I tell you what a game for the UTSA Roadrunners on Saturday up in El Paso at the Sun Bowl. They beat UTEP 44-23. game, set, match. I mean, just total domination. And I tell you what, I think the ace was served up on the second play of the game with a 75-yard touchdown run, and you got it to break point at halftime. Coach, I'm trying to come up with every tennis term I can to talk about your win over UTEP as we're joined by Jeff Traylor, the head football coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. Coach, that was a heck of a trip up to El Paso.
Yeah, fun night. Great crowd, great environment, national TV, beautiful evening. Our fan base showed up. They were loud. They were early. They stayed into the game the entire time. They stayed late after the game. They were great for our kids. So very grateful for our fans to travel to El Paso.
And you put on a show. Now, leading up to it, there was a lot of, predictions. This was going to be a close game, maybe one of the tougher tests that you guys have faced in conference play. And you took it to them early. I'm curious because as I watch college football all around, obviously I do a lot of high school football, that. And even in the NFL yesterday, the Cowboys came out flat. How does your team come out fired up, ready to go, game in and game out?
It's our single-digit guys, our leadership council, the way they practice. I mean, if you were to come watch us practice, Jason, I promise you in the morning when we get done with stretch, there'll be more juice going around that practice field. Those kids love to practice football. They hear me say it a million times, practice makes permanent, perfect practice makes perfect. And we've never played a perfect game, but I would challenge anybody. I've been the head coach here now, 12 games last year. Now we're at 21 games, and all 21 games, even though we might not have executed perfectly, our effort has been perfect in every single one of those ball games.
And, the buy-in from your messaging as the head coach throughout your assistants, and you talk about your leadership council all the time about not eating the cheese, and you guys continue to climb up in the rankings, but you go out and you dominate. You back up everything that you're saying, and at some point, that national respect is going to be there. I know you had a lot of fun on Twitter the other day with the USTA comment from the playoff committee guy, but I think there's some truth there. You guys still have to build that national respect.
Well, we're new, and I understand it. That guy's got a lot going on. He's head of the committee, and he's AD at Iowa. He's got a lot going, right? So I was just trying to find a way to make sure our kids practice hard. I don't think that stuff matters on Saturday, like if you talk about that before the game. But I think if you can get your players to practice harder, they're going to play better on Saturday. And it's just a little extra motivation. And my video guy, Alex DeCasio, we had a little fun that night. And we had that's as much fun as I've had in a while. So I can't do anything on a computer, Jason, so I don't take any credit for it. Kind of like the way our team is out there. They're my ideas, but my coaches and my players pull off all my ideas for me.
Well, and again, but it works. But, there was some truth there. But ultimately, and again, you find whatever you can. Do you expect to see your name on the list tomorrow night on the next show? And if not, how do you react to that to tell your players that, all right, here we go again. Got another week. We're going to have to go out there and prove it on the football field.
I can tell San Antonio's changing just because my wife, she's never kept up with anything when it comes to sports. I think her whole job is to keep me humble at all times, so she doesn't know anything in the world. But even today, she's like, baby, you moved up in the AP, the coaches poll. I think Tuesday nights when the college playoff poll comes out, I'm like, Carrie, I don't care. I don't want to know. I won't know. I really feel strongly about that. My job is to coach my team. Media people, that's what y'all do. Y'all are fantastic at it. And y'all are great about reminding me and letting me know. And we'll all just do our jobs. We're all fine. When I start trying to do your job and people start trying to do my job, that's when things get confused. So I know it sounds like I'm just full of bull, but I will not even have a clue what they'd say tomorrow night.
And again, I'll take your word for it, but I know a lot of fans are going to be upset, and Twitter will let you know, and other people will let you know what they say. And it certainly, I think, for a lot of fans, because we've got to be honest here. Regardless of what you guys do, you're not going to get invited to that playoff party. You look at Cincinnati undefeated, and they're not even in the top 4 because it's really for the Power 5 guys, and I think we all know that. But just being on that list tells you something. But I'll tell you, Coach, being 15, and you start thinking about, I don't want to violate culture pillars here, and I'll do the push-ups, but that's more important. Where you are in the AP rankings are more important than the CFP rankings, right?
Well, let's be honest. What it's good for is our marketing department. It's good for recruiting. It's good for boosters. It's good for administration. It's just good for our city. It's just good to get excitement going. Everywhere I go in the city, everybody's birds up. I mean, it doesn't matter where I go. Everybody recognizes my big bald head or my cap on my head. It's everybody. Coach, birds up, birds up. And it's exciting for our players, and it's just exciting for everybody. And that's what to me, it does a great job of, Jason. It just gives everybody, a feeling that we've got something here. The city of San Antonio has a football team. They're all proud of it.
They are, and it's not just here in the city. I was in Dallas over the weekend. I went to the Cowboys game yesterday. Saturday night, I'm at a bar in Dallas and asked them, hey, can you put on ESPN2? And this poor guy, he didn't have a remote. He had to climb up on a ladder to go turn the channel, right? And he's wearing a UNT hat. And then he realizes I'm asking him to put on the UTSA UTEP game. And he just looked at me. I said, yeah, UTSA. And I gave him the little birds up hand signal. And he gave me a look, but he turned the channel for me, and he put that game on there. And then walking around Dallas, there was a lot of orange that was Bronco, but I saw two UTSA shirts and one guy in a UTSA hat at the Cowboys game.
Yeah, it's been different for me, just at the airport. I can't tell you how many times people have asked me if I've coached for the Ravens, and that just hadn't happened in a while. I mean, the last 6 to 8 weeks, that the beak is getting known. Meep is out there, and that's exciting for everybody. And that's the vision Dr. Compost and President Amy had when they hired me, and I'm just glad to be a small piece of the puzzle to help this thing come to fruition so far.
And you and Coach Harbaugh look just like each other. I mean, you'd be twins.
I think Jeff Traylor. Must think I'm an assistant coach, not the head coach.
Jeff Traylor joining us here. Let's talk about that game. I mean, second play of the game, you guys really set the tone. Sincere McCormick with the 75-yard run, but talk about those big boys up front. I mean, that hole was massive. He probably doesn't see a hole like that in practice.
Well, I think that was one of the biggest plays of the game, right? I mean, we hadn't had an open week together. This is my first time as a head college coach to even have an open week. We didn't have one last year because the LSU game got canceled. So we played straight through the season. And this year we had 8 in a row. So I think it was just really good for all of us. We looked fresh. You could tell our kids were rested. And that was a huge play. Their crowd was fantastic now. They had a great crowd, and that quieted them down pretty quick.
It certainly did. And Frank Harris, it just continues to throw the ball so well. Now, I remember watching him in high school, and when he first got to UTSA, he was a great athlete that was playing quarterback and learning the quarterback position. I got to believe there's not a throw he can't make at this point.
Even last year, he would be the first one to tell you, we really struggled at times with him throwing the football, but he just kept getting better. And I really challenged him in the offseason that we were going to throw the whole playbook at him in the spring. And there was going to be a wide open competition between him and Josh. And those two just got after it. And they're very, very good friends. And they both made each other a lot better. I mean, Frank just wasn't real healthy last week. I tease him all the time. He's his oldest son of the Bible characters. And so, he does not take ever his health for granted. He's the first one on the field and he prays. When he leaves the field, he's the last one and he prays. So he understands his body. He does not ever want to take that for granted. But Josh took a lot of those reps last week in practice. And when the game came, Frank was ready to go. And like you said, Jason, he played so well. And Josh had such a great attitude. I mean, he just is Frank's biggest supporter. And that's the part of this team. Most of the time, your starters are happy. On our team, everybody supports each other. It's a tremendous, tremendous locker room. And I know the word culture is so overused. But our culture on our football team is such, very much like San Antonio. It's just a great, great team atmosphere, and I'm so proud of our kids.
Well, and it's so evident, Coach, watching the game, seeing how they all react, but your social media team is fantastic, and the videos that they put out, I think you tweeted too, man, you guys are having too much fun at practice, but you can see the work, but you could also see how much fun you're having. And of course, you're winning games. That's always a lot of fun. It feels like forever since we got to tailgate in the Alamo Dome parking lot, but we get to do that again this Saturday with an afternoon game. Nice. It seems like it's been a while, but how nice is it not to have to think about what time does the plane leave this week?
Amen. And if you know me well enough, I hate to fly, right? I'd drive everywhere I could. That's one of the main reasons I love San Antonio so much. I can drive to all my recruits' houses, right? I don't have to fly to go see them. So, no doubt, we're thrilled. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon Saturday. The tailgating is going to be great. I can't wait for the walk. Our kids will have a ton of juice to come back home. We hadn't been home in almost a month. So, and we're back 9-0. I mean, that's just to go on the road and beat Louisiana Tech, homecoming. Very, very packed. I mean, it wasn't completely packed, but a big crowd. Go to the El Paso, the Sun Bowl, where it was packed. Night game, national TV. Our kids have answered the bell. They really have. And I know the city's excited, and I guarantee they're going to show up Saturday.
Southern Miss is 1-8, 0-5 in conference play. How do you motivate guys this week to show up? And I did take what you did against Rice and use that, but how do you make sure there is no kind of letdown like, man, we've got this one looks like an easy win?
Well, it's the very reason we don't ever talk about winning and losing. We only compare ourselves to our own brand. And what is branding? It's when your image, who you say you are, and it's your identity and your image, when they all line up together. Well, all we ever talk about is our 2-1-0 triangle of toughness culture brand. That's the only thing we grade ourselves on. We don't grade ourselves by the score. We don't grade ourselves by the opponent. We only look at how we play, what we can control. And that's as old as, John Wooden's been doing that for 100 years. He didn't talk about winning and losing. It was always about what their product was. And our kids just believe that. They don't, it's not just words on the wall. I know I say all the time, Jason, it's words on their heart, and our kids live it.
Absolutely. Coach, you mentioned that the night game against El Paso. Last one we talked, you were worried about spending all day gearing up for that 9:15 kickoff that got pushed even a little bit later by 10, 12 minutes or whatever. What'd you guys do in the hotel all day? How'd you keep them busy and keep them focused?
It's a great question. I spent as much time on that as I did practice schedules. We decided, kids love to sleep late in the morning, where us older guys, we like to get up and have our coffee, right? So I just pushed everything back. We didn't get there till later Friday night. I kept them up pretty late, walkthroughs, meetings, went to the stadium, put them to bed about midnight, let them sleep till about 10 the next morning. So then there wasn't that huge gap between 10 and 6. Then we ate, a couple of times, had snacks once, a couple of walkthroughs, a couple of meetings, a couple of videos, and just let them have an hour and a half or two to themselves instead of like 6 hours to themselves. Because I know my big offensive lineman would have turned that air down to 55 and shut those curtains, and they wouldn't have woken up one time.
Coach Jeff Traylor joining us here on the Blitz. I've got to ask you a knucklehead question. As I'm reading about the Florida quarterback, Dan Mullen admitted today that their quarterback hurt his knee dancing at the team hotel the night before their game. And, of course, he didn't play. They first said he was sick, and there was all that. But the kid hurt himself dancing. I don't know if he was making a TikTok video or what. What's your biggest concern week in and week out with your players and stories like that go around that I lost my quarterback how? I mean, what's your biggest concern with stuff like that?
Just like that. Well, your biggest concern is when they're driving at night. You're always concerned about that kind of stuff. Anytime they have free time, are they going to, maintain our culture pillar or get in some type of trouble that's going to, cause distractions? But like Don Pastucci, one of my right guards, it's on the punt team, first protector. He's walking down our stairs. We've got him all the way done. We're ready to go, right? He twists his ankle walking down the stairs at our facility. So there's just, I had to remind myself all the time, and I say this like, I am not God, right? I cannot control everything, and I just got to turn it over. I got to let it go because it'll keep you up all night, Jason, just worrying about just stuff that happens. To your point exactly, just crazy things that have happened. Illnesses. I had a player get food poisoning, did not play very well this weekend, one of my very best players. Y'all really couldn't tell. We kind of hit it, and we didn't play him as much. But he was sick as a dog during the game just for he ate something that was bad. Those kind of things as a coach, and you can't come out and say it, right? If I come out and say it, it's one, it's probably a violation of HIPAA. Two, it sounds like I'm making excuses. Y'all gonna be all over me for making a soft bed for my kids. So most of the time, those stories don't even come out.
It's insane. And again, whoever put stairs in your facility, that's a design flaw, is it not? I mean, you just got to have ramps everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Don was so embarrassed. Ankle all swollen up. He's such a good kid. But trust me, we've been busting his chops about getting injured in the facility.
No slip surface on that. I mean, just I mean, bubble wrap. There you go. I mean, I just, you hear about all that and just the little things that a head coach has to worry about and deal with on a day in and day out basis. And then you realize you're dealing with 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, and sometimes stuff just happens. It's how it goes. Southern Miss this week. I'm going to ask you an unfair question. 35,000? 40,000? What's your dream?
It'd be a violation of the culture pillar, but I to even speculate, but I would hope, right? We've gone up every week. We were almost at 30 the last time we were home, 26, 27, something like that. I know this. Sosa is going to be rocking. That band never lets me down. And the student section is going to be packed, and they're going to be rocking. And they have been fantastic. The city just keeps coming in more and more and more. I hope so, Jason. Our kids have done above and beyond. And if not, it's not. Nothing we can do about it. But I hope so for our kids' sake Saturday.
The tailgating is incredible down there. The atmosphere is fantastic, and the weather is always perfect inside the dome. Last Saturday, I was in Phoenix at the Arizona State-Washington State game. My daughter goes to ASU. They said it was 87. It felt like 115. I couldn't have appreciated the dome any more than I do than sitting at Sun Devil Stadium with the sun just beating down on me for a noon kickoff out there. The weather's perfect always inside the dome.
I couldn't agree more. I love the dome. It's great for recruiting. I'm thrilled with it. It's always 72. Our quarterbacks love it. Our receivers love it because there's no wind and there's no rain, and it's just a great place. And it's so loud in there. I mean, I know whatever our attendance was the last game, say 30, whatever it was, 28, 26, it sounds like 60. And it's just an exciting place. And I can't wait to show up there Saturday with our kids.
Absolutely. We'll be there. Tailgating's going to be fun. Coach Jeff Traylor, always appreciate the time. We'll visit next week.
Jason, thank you so much. God bless. Birds up.
Birds up for sure. We'll visit them next week when they're 10-0. I just couldn't say that to him because that would be a culture pillar violation. Our conversation with Jeff Traylor always brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. And I'll tell you what, 2:30, perfect start time. Get down there, start tailgating. I know some of you will be there as soon as the gates open. I'm thinking noonish. Get out there, tailgate, 12:30. See, I'm not 23 anymore. I can't go from 8 a.m. till kickoff and through the game. What are you saying, Pledge?
Stop it.
What? Well, I mean, you get off work at 11.
You.
Oh, you've seen me what?
Turn up.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
But again, I mean, I think, for me, if I get down there around noon, kickoff is at 2:30. The problem is some of those beer drinking games that those college kids play, and I try to avoid those. If I can do those, I can be down there at 10. But, when they start handing out fireball shots and playing Thunderstruck, I got to go, because those kind of games can end your day in a hurry. Ben Briseño says he's going to be there at 11. See, he'll get there at 11. See, I know Ben. He'll get there at 11. And it will take him 2 hours to put up his tent and get everything ready. So his party won't get going until 1. See, that's what he says is pacing himself.
Look, this could be huge. You go down, you go to the dome. It's a big game there. We pack it. We get over 30,000 in there. You go to Pinkerton's, grab a bite after the game, and SAFC. They've made it into the semifinals. They've got another home game coming up against Rio Grande Valley. 8 o'clock at Toyota Field, same day.
I'm happy for SAFC. I really am. And I'm going to make soccer fan mad at me as I say this. But I'd be hard-pressed to go tailgate at UTSA, leave there, and end up at Pinkerton's and eat some great barbecue. That's what we did the last UTSA game. And we left Pinkerton's and went to some dive bar downtown. But the hardest part about that was I needed a nap. So if I continue to party at a dive bar or go somewhere else and start watching more football, but I don't know that I could do a UTSA tailgate, UTSA football, go to Pinkerton's, get some brisket or that beef rib or those candy painted pork ribs they have that are so good, and then
cheese.
Go sit and watch soccer. I'm just saying, I'd go all Rudy J and fall asleep in the stands. I don't think that is going to be on my game plan for Saturday. Now, any other time, I'm down to go watch SAFC play. But that can't be the end of the night event for me. You know, if it's the beginning of the night or second stop. And I've had a lot of fun at SAFC games, especially, you know, when I get over there in the group and we're banging drums and all that kind of stuff. I just, that Saturday game plan, I don't think would work out well for me, man. I really don't. Do the Longhorns play? I don't even care.
Yeah, I was about to say, you care?
Aggies play a early evening game against Ole Miss. So even then, you know, UTSA game, you Aggie fans go down there, watch the Roadrunners. You'll be where you need to be in time to watch the Aggies, whether it be the Roo Pub or wherever you end up going. I mean, they're going to have the game on. I don't even care what the Longhorns are doing this weekend. I am totally checked out on what UT is doing.
Who do they even play?
And their 4-game lose. Are they got to bye this week?
Oh, I don't know. I said, who do they play?
Oh, I don't know. You're the one that was wearing a Longhorn hat earlier. I mean, I saw you turned your head and you had Pole Assassin stitched on the side of it, which I think is fantastic.
I mean, you got to represent.
All facets of the game.
Our favorite assistant coach, Jeff Banks.
Mm-hmm. Offense, defense, and special teams. It's all there. Dave Coley, the head coach of the Houston Texans, gave a mind-boggling answer to a question today. So we'll go to a guy that went to college in Arkansas to try to figure out what the hell David Coley is talking about. Clint Stoerner will join us coming up next. First, let me tell you about my friends at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex. If you're shopping for a new vehicle, you know there's no better place to go than Ancira, and I can tell you firsthand because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I've bought many vehicles from Ancira, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That is why Ancira has been a top family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with all the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner. Clint Stoerner joins us next after Sports Center from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll start off in Major League Baseball, where the Astros extended a qualifying offer to starting pitcher Justin Verlander and shortstop Carlos Correa for $18.4 million, meaning they would receive draft compensation if they were to leave in free agency. Correa reportedly turned down a 5-year, $160 million extension offer from the Astros over the weekend. Speaking of Carlos Correa, he and first baseman Yuli Gurriel were both named Gold Glove Award winners over the weekend. In soccer, as I mentioned, San Antonio FC is on to the semifinals after they beat San Diego Loyal FC 2-0 in the quarterfinals of the USL playoffs on Saturday night, which they will now host the Rio Grande Valley Toros this Saturday in semifinal action here at Toyota Field. In college football news, Texas Tech Bears have found their next head coach as Baylor associate coach Joey McGuire will be the next head football coach at Lubbock. McGuire's in his fifth season at Baylor, his third as the team's associate head coach, as he's also coached tight ends, defensive ends, and linebackers with the Bears. Finally, the Dallas Cowboys' 6-game win streak was snapped as they fell 30-16 to the Denver Broncos, while the Houston Texans lost their 7th straight, falling 17-9 to the Miami Dolphins. I'm James Pledger, and this SportsCenter update was brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes! It's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year. The one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire line, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing. Next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BILL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BILL for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code BILL.
The Camera Exchange is having their biggest sales event of the year, the 2021 Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange will pay sales taxes on all Canon purchases, including the Canon R5, Canon R6, Canon T8i, and the Canon RF 50mm 1.2. Everyone will get a gift card at the door worth up to $200 and prizes every day. The Camera Exchange Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange, 1 mile inside Loop 410 on San Pedro, online at camerax.com.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
The annual San Antonio Auto and Truck Show is November 12th through the 14th. See new cars and trucks, extraordinary exotics, and learn about the latest in energy efficiency. Take part in exclusive ride and drives, all new experiences, kids activities, and the food truck fiesta. Don't miss it.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain, whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This is Jerry Jones, and you're listening to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. I hate this time of year. It's so dark. I look out my kitchen window. There's nothing. Think about going out and firing up the grill. It's dark. Need a light out there. A new light. Let's talk some football. Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback, now host on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, joining us. Clint, how's your Monday, man?
Man, it was good. Look, it's I'm covering these Texans down here, man. There's never a dull moment. Even when they're 1-8 and getting their tail kicked, there's still some pretty pressing news to talk about, a little quarterback action. So Reaction Monday was good, brother. How about you?
Well, I Reaction Monday, and obviously, I mean, with the Cowboys reacting to that, and then, of course, the Texans. But I need somebody that can help me decipher what the hell David Coley is talking about. So let me call in a guy that went to Baytown Lee and college ball in Arkansas to explain what David Coley means by this.
Well, we got no chance to win a football game. It doesn't matter who you play when you turn the ball over 4 times. It doesn't matter if you get 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. It's a formula that's been in this league, in all leagues, that when you play that way, you have no chance to win.
What does that mean?
Don't ask me, man. I mean, that's one of them. Look, we played that 15 times today down here, and I'm thinking, what in the hell is he talking about? I don't. He is completely overwhelmed. We laugh about it, but it really is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the Texans. It's embarrassing for him. He's overwhelmed, and he just the moment has gotten to a point where any kind of press conference, any kind of meeting with the media, man, I mean, he gives us sound bites like that 2 or 3 sound bites a time that he visits with the media. I can't explain that, Jason. Now, there's zero chance.
I'm just glad to know that, it's like a when to go for 2 chart, that there's not some secret Facebook group only for coaches at every level, apparently, that if you get 4, you better fumble it one more time because the rule says you can't win a game if you got 4. But if you get to 5, you still have a chance. You won the turnover margin. And again, I know he's not supposed to win. And all I can think of is here's this guy who spent his entire life in the NFL, finally gets a head coaching job. And I don't know, does he get bonuses for losses that we don't know about? Because none of this makes sense.
No, look, it doesn't make sense at all. I mean, it's just one of those things where, he is – David Culley is completely as I said, I mean, he's overwhelmed with the situation, and it shows, every time he meets with us. Here's the problem is that he's got a group of players that are very, I mean, look, there's a lack of talent on the roster. We all know that. The margin of error in Houston is very, very, very slim. And when you look at the guys that are the members of the Houston Texans that just have to perform at a high level in order for them to have a chance, those guys they're not doing their job. It starts with him. I mean, he called a timeout to avoid a delay of game on 3rd and 13 from the 4-yard line. He wasted a timeout to save 2 yards. Secondly, you go to Tim Kelly on the offensive side of the football, the offensive coordinator. the lack of answers for pressure, for cover zero blitz over and over and over again was borderline criminal. Tyrod Taylor throws 3 picks, 2 of which are very difficult to explain away, one of which is completely unacceptable. And so when you talk about the guys that are getting paid handsomely, the guys that have all week to game plan, the guys that have been in this league for 10 or 11 years, they have to play well for the Texans to even have a chance. Even when they're playing the worst team in the NFL, or one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Dolphins. And so this was a tough week for the Texans, and David Culley's the one that essentially gets sacrificed and gets pushed out there every week to try to make sense of this when the media gets to talk to him. So it's bad in Houston, brother.
Clint Stoerner from Sports Radio 610 joining us here on the Blitz. And again, I think in most other situations, you'd be talking about, well, does he get fired? Does Tim Kelly become interim coach? But ultimately, I think this is exactly what Nick Caserio and Cal McNair want.
Oh, look, there's zero doubt about it that I talked about this today on our show, is that, look, Nick Caserio needs to answer the questions, right? I mean, he's the one that hired David Culley, and there's no doubt about it. We all know now that the guy that you hired, there's no way that you went through the interview process and said, yep, this coach right here is the best coach for the Houston Texans, and this guy gives us a chance to hell with winning ball games. He just gives us a chance to lay a good, solid foundation with the Houston Texans moving forward. There's no way that Nick Caserio went through that interview process of all the different head coaches out there and settled on David Culley, and for winning reasons anyway. And so he's the one that needs to answer for what David Culley's going through right now. They're the ones that hired David Culley. In my opinion, I think they hired him so that he wouldn't ruffle feathers, so that he wouldn't want to be involved in personnel, so that he wouldn't want to be involved in what offensive coordinator they hire or fire, or what defensive coordinator they bring in. He's not gonna step out of line when they tell him, hey, you're not involved in the draft process at all. In fact, he probably don't even want you in the room. They're not, David Culley was hired because he's that guy, not because he gave them a chance to win. So when we see the product on the field that we see, I think Nick Caserio's got to do better than what he's done to this point in terms of answering the media when they ask what's his opinion of what's going on. So far it's been, they got to do better. It's another week. Guys have to do better. I think Nick Caserio's got to come with something as a GM who hired David Culley. The GM's got to come with something a little bit stronger than, we're building a culture and it's 1 week at a time and it's about all, the team first. He's got to come with something a little stronger than that moving forward.
Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz, former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't want to get to an area that would break a player trust, but I know a lot of former players that are in this business get relationships and comments from current players that most of us normal media types don't. What's the mood in the locker room amongst the players that they might share with you privately about what the hell is going on inside?
Well, look, I think right now everything's pretty kosher. I think first and foremost, you got a lot of they filled this locker room full of guys on one-year contracts. And so you've got a lot of guys that understand that it's all about the film that they're putting out there, not necessarily winning ball games. And I think that has, to this point, I think that's held true. I think moving forward, you're going to have David Culley's going to have a hard time keeping his arms around this locker room and this locker room not fracturing, because you look at what happened last week is the defense they turned the football over 4 times. Special teams turned it over once. They gave the offense 5 turnovers against one of the worst teams in the league, one of the worst defenses in the league, and they scored 9 points. They didn't score a touchdown. I think that's the first time since early 2000 maybe where a team got 5 turnovers and didn't score a touchdown. I think at some point this defense is going to crack, and at some point somebody in that locker room is going to have a problem with what's going on offensively on this team. But right now, Jason, to answer your question, right now I mean, guys are solid right now in the locker room. They're not fractured at all, and they're maybe it's because they know that they're putting good film up for them individually. Maybe they're putting good film up. Maybe that's all they're worried about. But right now, it seems pretty kosher, pretty solid in the locker room.
Yeah, I guess they're getting paid, and that's obviously the first and foremost for a lot of those guys, because they know they're not winning, and maybe individually some good film is being put on tape. But I look at a Texans team that has been outscored by 130 points, and they don't even look competitive. I don't think Jacksonville is very good, yet they just beat Buffalo. And the last couple of weeks, they've at least looked competitive, and last 2 weeks, the Texans haven't even done that.
Oh, no, look, there's no question about it. I mean, there's some bad teams in this league, in the Jets, and I think the Detroit Lions. I think there's some bad teams in this league that are at least moving in the right direction. We talked about this today on the show. It's like David Culley talks about the message that he's given to this team. He knows he's given them the right message. Well, I asked, Coach, what message are you giving this team? There's still no discipline, right? They're still turning the football over. There's still penalties through the roof. I mean, the lack of physicality is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it at any level, college or pros. I've never seen an offensive line lack physicality the way that this particular offensive line does. And so I question what is the message to your team? What pillars, if you will, what pillars of your foundation, what are you building? What are your 4 or 5 pillars of your organization in this rebuild? Is being physical? Is that part of the rebuild? Is that part of the standards you're setting? Because the way I look at it, Jason, I agree with you. Right now, the Texans are just there are very few, if any, boxes checked in a sense of them even moving in the right direction. I always tell people, Lou Holtz said this a long time ago: the quickest way out of a hole is to quit digging. And I believe there's several Texans from the top down that have their hands on a shovel. It's going to be hard for them to make progress when that's the case.
Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback, now host on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, joining us here on the Blitz. Aside from the Texans, man, I was at the Cowboys-Broncos game yesterday, and you talk about a team that came out flat and got their butt kicked, but it was league-wide yesterday. How do you explain yesterday in the National Football League?
Well, it's a long season, and I know it's coach speak of anybody. When we hear people talking about any one team can beat the other team on any given Sunday. I do believe there's some truth to that. Let's take the Texans and held the Dolphins out of the mix. I mean, that was some of the. I don't believe that they're going to have a chance to beat anybody other than each other, maybe, because they don't play each other again. So that's not going to happen. I think when you get a mediocre team at this point that we may think is mediocre, look, I mean, Cleveland, there was drama all over Cleveland. Some people label it as dysfunction. Their record, was I guess underwhelming at this point in time, and they go out there and blow the doors off of the Cincinnati Bengals. I do believe that right now there's some teams that maybe their record doesn't show what they're capable of. And so we, as the media or as fans, we watch it and we think it's how could that team possibly put that kind of performance on the field? In reality, they're probably one of the better football teams in the league. So I think you got some of that going on, and then I think you got some teams that just come out flat like the Cowboys did. It's a long season, man.
Yeah, I mean, with them, Buffalo losing, Jacksonville with the win there, and what the Rams did last night. And I don't know if I put that on the Rams, or when do you start believing in Tennessee? Because I thought without Derrick Henry, Tennessee was going to struggle, and they did not.
Jason, I would have lost a lot of money last night on the Rams. I'm sitting there with my co-host. We do the Texans post game, and I'm sitting there and I said, man, Rams -7.5, and Tennessee has no Derrick Henry, man. I think the Rams blow the doors off these guys. And then I get home and flip the damn TV on, and the Rams are down 2 scores. So, look, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, man. I before yesterday's game, I'd have picked the Rams to make maybe not win to win the NFC, but I'd have picked them to make a deep run for damn sure. And they didn't look like a team that could do that yesterday.
No, and Arizona winning with Colt McCoy at quarterback says, you know what? That's a legit good football team that Cliff Kingsbury has.
Hey, man, the NFC playoffs are going to be must-see TV, must-watch TV. But I agree with you, man. With what Cliff Kingsbury's got rocking and rolling right now, it seems to be the real deal. That to me, that's one of the biggest stories in the NFL over the last, I don't know how long Cliff's been there, 4 years, 5 years, whatever the hell it's been. That's one of the biggest stories in the NFL, and it's pretty simple, man. You've got the air raid in Cliff Kingsbury, which I know he's adjusted his playbook a bit to work in the NFL, but you've got an air raid lifer, if you will, in him, and he gets married to Kyler Murray, who is an air raid lifer. And if the air raid's ever going to work in the NFL, it's going to work with that combination, that formula. And to see it, the Cardinals management be patient with Cliff Kingsbury and let him get his ducks in a row, and to see it working in a major way is really, really cool. I don't know if it's going to work to the championship level, but I think it's safe to say that the air raid has made its way into the NFL, and I wouldn't be surprised if more and more air raid guys didn't get NFL opportunities. What Arizona's doing, I think, has got a chance to shift the landscape of coaching and offensive scheme in the NFL in a big way, man. It's cool to watch.
It very much is. Clint Stoerner, Sports Radio 610, former Cowboy quarterback. Always appreciate the time, my friend. We'll visit next week.
You got it, man, and don't ever forget, baby. Go Hogs.
Yeah, it was a nice win for Arkansas over the weekend. Been a while since we got to hear Clint sing, but this past weekend was certainly one of those weekends that I know that man was singing big after that 31-28 win. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star. We'll get you ready for Monday Night Football coming up, but first let me tell you about Garageization. You know, we all need an organized garage. I mean, I walk around the neighborhood, and sometimes I see neighbors with their garage doors open. They got so much stuff in their garage, they can't put the cars in there. If that's you, park your car in the garage. Call Garageization, 210-664-4494. If you need help organizing your garage, that's the company to call. You can talk to them about shelves, overhead racks, closed storage, slat walls. Make your garage functional for the entire family, where you can get your cars in there, the kids' bikes, your golf clubs, all the stuff can go in your garage in an organized way. You just need that help, and Garageization will help you love your garage. That is what they do. They're a great veteran-owned company, and they've been around since 2008, helping San Antonians love their garage. I know they put some shelves in my garage, in my neighbor's garage, which is how I found them. He's got the overhead rack, some shelving, slat walls. It's incredible. And again, park your cars inside, especially as it starts to get colder. You're going to want to be able to just walk into your garage, turn your car on, and open up that garage door. Learn more about Garageization at their website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com, or call them 210-664-4494. They'll come out to your house and give you a customized plan for your garage, and again, make it functional for you and for the entire family. Again, the website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
Get your college game on. Get ready for the fight songs. It's college football.
Touchdown! What a catch!
Hear it live on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, right now at Alamo Water Softeners, they are offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Jason Minix here. You know, I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners in my home for over a decade. Wouldn't live without one. Go to the website, alamowatersofteners.com, and schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house and give you a free water analysis and make sure you're getting the best water quality for you and for your family. And right now, you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system while supplies last. Take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and are not reliable. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing: college football. Oh my God! Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
San Antonio's home for sports talk is right here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, Texas Tech has finally named a new head football coach. Joey McGuire gets the gig. They're following the Jeff Traylor game plan. He was option one. And when UTSA ponied up with that 10-year, $28 million contract extension, they had to go back to the drawing board. Joey McGuire's name was not mentioned as a candidate when Texas Tech's job first came open. It was Sonny Dykes. It was all kinds of people. Joe McGuire wasn't there. But you go back to what Kirby Holtgott said he wanted. He wanted somebody that could recruit Texas and somebody that has a great relationship with the high school coaches in Texas, because he didn't have that with Matt Wells. Sonny Dykes, he was considered candidate too, but there's a chance he stays at SMU. There's also a chance that he ends up with the TCU job. But the idea of what they wanted from a head coach fits Joey McGuire. The guy won 3 state championships at Cedar Hill up there in the Austin area, and he can recruit Austin and Dallas and that Dallas area. You know what I find interesting? He's been at Baylor for 5 years. Matt Rule hired him when he got the job at Baylor because they wanted to make sure they had a coach with relationship with Texas high school coaches, much like when Charlie Strong hired Jeff Traylor. It's a good hire for Texas Tech. Very interesting to see how it unfolds for him. You got the Bears and Steelers on Monday Night Football. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 4 on the Blitz.
Rock the Mic moves into the voting phase. 12 finalists, live auditions, and only one 2021 Rock the Mic winner.
Hi, this is Carolina Teague, the Rock the Mic 2 winner.
Vote for your favorite Rock the Mic champ now at sasportstar.com and join us for the live auditions from